there we go. Everything's live. Oh, fun fact, if you want to look, there is a new overlay. So that's nice and cool.
I don't want to look.
I didn't prepare for that eventuality. What's going to happen now? I don't know what to do. All right, so let's just do some things that we did between sessions. Dota, I got your dog. Your dog is a thing, and it's...
You never sent me pictures.
Oh, I just picked one. I'm sorry. I am a horrible DM. I'll put it on the screen.
The entire session.
No,
Back to square zero. This is session 0 now.
No, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I assumed it would be. All right.
I thought you were going to find one with more of art, but that just looks
I made that one. I put like a filter over it. It's not the best in the world, but it'll do. Okay, it'll do. Next, I added equipment to a couple of people's sheets that didn't have them, including you, Dota. You have a signet ring of your clan. If you'd like to remove it, you can, but it's mentioned in your background that you'd have some sort of seal of authority. So.
Yep. I think he's just going to keep it in his pocket because he doesn't like his family.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, then what else did I do? I think that's the major things I did. Oh, I made horses for everyone that needs horses. Basically, everyone in the party except for Peach has an additional companion, and I took care of those in terms of
why don't I get one?
Because you didn't take one.
It's fucked.
Yeah, because you didn't take
what do you
one.
mean?
Well, because, so some of them, 2 of them have horses, which they particularly get because of their background. One of them has a familiar, and the other one has a dog, and you get none of that from your background class or subclass.
What can I choose to have one?
Yeah, you can go buy one once you get more money.
Oh,
it's just gonna be a normal animal.
That's your answer for everything.
It is. Yeah,
just
get more money.
Yes,
correct. Go purchase one. Go purchase a
Jesus.
sentient being.
Can we breed the horses together? And make me one?
I mean, in I think a couple, 10 years, sure.
I feel like
that's
gonna take a
the time scale's a bit too long for our game, but yeah. All right, so we are just going to dive right into it, though. So we will be changing up the music a bit, and we will
Thank you for the music, by the way.
Of course. Let's see what this one sounds like. Suitably ominous. All right. So, Maximus Titus Gaius Bologna, former centurion of the 7th Legion,
names.
quaestor of the Empire, and loyal servant of the Emperor. This is not your first time in the Imperial complex that dominates the Tiberian hill of the Imperial capital, but it is your first time going to the Great Department of Faith. You make your way past frescoes of St. Palinol with his righteous blades slaughtering elves in droves. You walk past images of saints, regional and imperial, and you feel something swell in your chest. As a devout man, this place has a special aura to it, an aura of serenity. You feel that this place exemplifies the beautiful bastion of faith that this empire has become under the god emperors. In your right hand, you clutch your summons to the Imperial complex. Pride swells further as you walk into the hallway leading to the proconsul's office. The man you are soon to meet has a double-edged reputation. Proconsul Lars Gallius Queso Ignia Captiosin. Even his name exalts his importance. An inquisitor turned leader of judges. He is brutal, harsh, and sometimes even unfair. But in these times, such men may be required. But as you turn the corner, on the final approach to the office, you halt. Lining the bench are not faithful priests, nor legionnaires. You see a haphazard group of individuals, 4 of them, other than yourselves. You see a man nearly as tall as you, with cauliflowered ears, a nose that has clearly been broken many times, and a poorly groomed beard. If he had been in your century, you would have had him lashed. He doesn't even sit up straight in his bench, but lounges. There are others, as you look, 2 half-elves, and a dwarf. Surely these can't be other judges, called upon to serve by the Emperor himself. But you see no one else out in the hallway, and there seems to be no indication that it is time for you to head into the room.
Excellent. Bunch of scraggly-looking motherfuckers. I love it.
So do you sit down and wait? Do you address your fellow judges?
I'll stand on the other side of the hallway, kind of just shooting glances at them.
Okay.
For now.
And the 4 of you, each one of you sort of dripped in slowly. The dwarf was the first to arrive, but you're now sort of getting an eye. You were each, in your orders to the Imperial Complex, you were informed of your promotion to judge, as well as a rough idea of how many other judges would be served alongside you. And doing a head count, this is everyone. It's probably for none of you is this quite the group that you expected, but it's the group that you have. Do any of you wish to talk? Or just silence?
No, Renesmee chooses to sit probably as far away from them, not like absurdly far, but she doesn't want to like share a bench with the men.
Okay, sure. You guys all keep your distance. The hallway quiet drags on. It grows from a little bit awkward to exceedingly awkward as the minutes drag on.
I'll speak up. So, you all received summons as well?
Renesmee just stares at him.
Not a very talkative group, I take it.
I do not speak to the weak.
Do you say that, or are you just thinking that?
Oh, I have to. Oh, yeah. I'll say that.
Lars is kind of just going to eye you, look you up and down, then grunt and look away.
The uncomfortableness is definitely palpable. Luckily for you...
A little bit of respect for you all good.
Luckily for you, the door with shutter blinds now opens. A woman in purple robes walks through. She looks at the five of you in the hallway, and you can see a look of pensiveness on her face, and she speaks. Hello, all. I'm happy to welcome you to the Proconsul's office. When I say your name, enter into the office. Lars Aurelius Titus Regia, Judge of the Empire.
He'll stand up and shroud his way up.
She nods and checks something off on a small piece of paper in front of her. Zednius Titus Fabricia Verusian, Judge of the Empire.
Oh, that's me.
She nods. Maximus Titus Gaius Bologna, Judge of the Empire.
Madam.
She nods. Renesmee Mudir Fabricia, Judge of the Empire. She looks around the hallway. Is there a Renesmee Fabricia?
Peach did.
Peach dead.
Ruined.
Peach died. GG.
My immersion. It's all
Sorry,
over.
I was muted.
Rip.
That's not my name. I changed it. Remember, it's Dethaldra.
Oh, okay, Dethaldro. Okay. So she says, Renesmee Dethaldro Fabricia, Judge of the Empire.
Renesmee gets up and just silently kind of slinks into the room.
She nods. And finally, I presume you are Fargrim Lucius Bologna.
Fargrim says, yes, and waddles on in.
Well, welcome, Judge of the Empire.
Excellent.
As you each file in upon your name being spoken, you shuffle into a space that is half office and half religious shrine. Alongside the walls are the statues of the four great saints, and a large statue of the Almighty dominates the center of the room. Behind that statue is a meager desk. Seated at the desk is a middle-aged man. He has gray hair, which is receding. Powerful sideburns dominate the edge of his face, and a platinum holy symbol of Aurelian soul hangs from his neck, an immense amount of wealth. He looks towards each of you as you enter, nodding, and 5 chairs are seated from across the man at the desk. He gestures for you to sit as each one of you enter.
Renesmee seats herself.
And he'll wait until you all sit down before clearing his throat and introducing himself. Well, 5 new judges of the Empire. Exciting times. Normally we get a trickle of 1 or 2, but 5 being appointed all in a batch, it's a bit of a rarity. But I still must applaud each of you for your actions and service. And he points towards Zednius. My good half-elf, you come highly recommended from Consul Tullius. How you managed to win over the Emperor's cousin, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm told your service was exemplary. Thank you for your service to the Empire. We have 2 centurions among us. I'm sure that you bloodied your swords out in the plains. There'll be plenty of fighting in the days to come. Those will be useful talents. And he looks towards Lars. You have a powerful family. You're lucky. And then he finally directs his gaze towards Renesmee and says, kidnapped, escaped, a judicial duelist, a registered spellcaster. You've had quite a life for one so young. But I think you in particular are going to be quite useful in the first task that your lot has been assigned to.
Renesmee kind of smirks when he says that, but doesn't say anything until he says that last part, and then she looks at him inquisitively and asks, "Why?"
Well, that, I suppose we can just get to your task. And he pulls a large map
Diving-
case from under his
Diving
desk.
right in, aren't we?
He nods, and he brings you guys to southern Mythdosia, the regions of Transatlia and Regia Nova, on the border of the Deadwood. And as he points at this region, he begins to speak. Pestilence, beasts, and heretics are a bane upon this empire. Along the frontier of the Deadwood, these problems have reared their ugly heads, even worse than usual. I have reports from the Consul Militum of the entire region preparing for another invasion by the Necromortis. In this chaos, there have begun to be tensions between senators and the plebeian classes. While normally we reserve judges for specific duties, I'm afraid in this instance we can only point you in the right direction. Your mandate is very broad. Bring peace to Regia Nova and Transatlia. Eliminate any foes of the Empire outside of the Deadwood in these regions. But do not venture into the Deadwood itself without the express permission of the Consul Militum, Marcellius Bologna. During this task, I remain your direct superior, but the Consul Militum effectively rules the entire area. You'll want to run your decisions through him. The first lead I can point you towards is a village on the frontier, named Pomdara, and he fingers the map, pointing at a small little village that's barely a dot on it. The settlement has gone totally quiet. The legionary garrison has gone quiet along with it. While normally the legions would attend to this, the Consul Militum has sent a request to the Emperor directly. Your starting mission is simple. Find out why Pomdara has gone quiet, and then report to the Consul Militum at Fort Romulus. As for provisions, out in the courtyard there's horses for each of you. Other supplies will have to be bought as you travel along the road, or given to you by the Consul Militum when you arrive. Do you have any questions on carrying out your duties?
Is someone in charge?
Of your little band of judges?
Hmm.
No. In the future, there may be a lead judge appointed based off your actions, beside the Deadwood, but as it stands, you are all equals.
How do we
right,
contact
then.
Marcellius Bologna, if need be?
He'll be at Fort Romulus. That's the nerve center of the Southern Legions.
Is that this one right here?
Fort what?
Fort Romulus.
Ah, okay.
That one, okay.
How close to the line of the law can we get, and can we go over it?
Your mandate is to interpret the religious and imperial law of the Empire when making any decisions. However, your decisions are not subject to approval by any higher court. You've been given the utmost trust and mandate from the Emperor to settle justice as you see fit. Should there be enough complaints by anyone, then we'll have to reevaluate that position, but for now, you are the judge, jury, and executioner.
So, as we deem worthy, and he'll kind of like punch his fists together.
He nods.
May we have something written, like the written mandate to carry with us?
Yes, of course. There are imperial orders alongside this assignment. And he reaches underneath the desk and pulls out a scroll that has been sealed with the Emperor's personal seal. He hands it across to you. This should be enough. You don't even have to open it, but that should be enough to get you through any trouble you may have with local authorities. It will also be your badge of rank.
Do we
So,
each have one of these, or
one for the lot
is
of
it the
you.
one for all of us?
You'll want to keep that very safe. And he sort of looks around. Who wishes to carry this?
I'll take it.
He hands it off to you. Well, are there any further questions about your duties? I'm sure that we'll converse much more. I will have to resort to letters. Normally, judges are given sending stones, but, desperate times.
Something unrelated to all this. Can we all change our Roll20 names to our character names? Because I'm already lost in the sauce.
Oh
it
yeah,
better
that would be
to-
very useful.
Yes, you can click on the cogwheel and do it there.
I thought it was better to have it not that way, so you associate the person with it.
I can associate the voice with a, with a
Yeah.
character, but I don't know any of you. I don't know. Ah, there we go. That's
There we
that's,
go.
That's
Yeah.
smart right there.
No, that is very, very useful.
What do I change to?
In the cogwheel, you can change your name there, or you can do as.
Oh, there
and
it
then,
is.
oh yeah, I think what Yogi did is probably the best thing. Character name, parentheses.
The
Yes.
pop out of the scroll, I just want to have the exact
The
wording
exact
of this
wording
request.
is, this is your mandate. I will just
He's
put it in
gonna
the
lawyer
chat.
this shit.
Okay, perfect.
That is your exact
Thank you.
mandate. So, The proconsul looks at the lot of you and says, well, I wish you all the best of luck on this assignment. We'll be keeping in frequent communication through letters. Most of the time, I'll be addressing them directly to you, but if you've been out in the countryside for a prolonged period of time, you may have to return to civilization so we can remain in touch. I'm your major advocate in the Imperial government, so if you have any requests, make sure to send them my way. Now, are we all satisfied with the orders given?
I believe so.
Yes.
No issues.
Good. The Emperor and the Almighty will watch over you, apply their laws, and bring peace. And he sits back down at his desk and puts away the map of Transatlia and Regia Nova, dismissing you.
Righto.
May we ask the Emperor if he has any funds for us for
The
this
proconsul
mission?
looks up and chuckles. Ask the Emperor. No, I don't think you may.
I see.
It was worth a shot. Worth a shot.
Is there anywhere we could get kitted out for this, or?
As I said before, there are horses waiting for you out in the courtyard. Anything else you have to purchase on your own or acquire from the Consul Militum.
Horses for all of us?
Yes.
Oh. So there is a horse for me.
Do you
Is
think
that
they
a
make you
good-
walk?
It would appear so. Yes.
Woo! Okay.
And can you all ride?
Yes, I can.
No.
Do you have land vehicles proficiencies?
Oh, maybe not.
I do not.
Most people don't. You don't need them to ride. It's just to do any combat maneuvers on a horse, you do need it. So you'll be able to ride across the countryside, no problem. But in combat, you're going to want to dismount very quickly. You're going to get bucked off.
Got it.
All right. So yeah, the proconsul seems satisfied with your conversation, dismissing you.
Where are we right now?
You guys are in the capital of the Empire, Mythos, which I will ping. It is.
Did you
here.
ping it? I missed it.
No, I didn't yet. Right there.
Okay, we're in the north tip. Okay.
Yes.
Is this little like is this bit right here? Is that the limits of the border? Like limits of the empire?
No, the limits of the Empire are way out here in the Tibrashan Plains. They've expanded by quite a bit in the last 100 years.
Big
What?
fucking place.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's actually even
What?
bigger. The furthest extent, the border is way up here. So
Oh my god.
the Empire is very large.
I missed that ping.
It's in the
What
center
about
of the Tibrashan Plains.
what about down here?
In the south, it's right around here, but there's a huge war in the
Okay.
plains right now determining where the final border should be. So
Ah, I see.
there's literally, like, that's why there's so few people in the south. You guys would know, there's something called the War on the Plains, which has already claimed about 100,000 Mythosian lives, and it's going to go on for a long
Who's-
time more.
Who's fighting?
The entirety, so the Tibrashan Plains are made up of 9 independent princedoms. Almost all of them have united to fight Mythosia.
Based.
Yeah, so it's not going well for Mythosia, but this will be the year it turns around. Go.
We'll fix it.
Yeah. Also,
Well-
timeline-wise, this is October 10th of 1279. So,
Of
1279.
I know, we've moved so far, Ethan. 7 years after we started.
God.
Yeah, I know, it's been ages. But yeah, so
Can you tell me what the mammoth icon means?
the mammoth icon. Those are 2 famous ruins. One of them is the ruin of Samnia. The other is the ruin of Batavia. If they come up, or you guys get close, then we can talk more about them. But
Where do
You know,
we
I
find
always
the
thought,
map
I always thought that was an
handout?
the map
Some
handout,
kind
there's
of-
not a map handout. This is the map.
Can we get a map handout?
Zoom out
Maybe.
and just save it.
If you
have
make
one
them-
to
if
send
you want.
I'm trying. It's just for some reason.
If you
not
make a map, you
cooperating.
can.
True.
I mean, I've sent you one in our DMs. It's just got my marks on it.
Ah, okay.
All right. So, you guys can head out to the courtyard and grab your steeds if you'd like, or if you would like to clarify. It sounded like Maximus had some questions about chain of command, or are you satisfied that you're all equals?
No, I'm satisfied with all being equals for now.
Okay.
It's it's not a problem until it is proven to be a problem. So.
Yeah. So the journey you guys have to make, if we're going along the quickest imperial routes and sort of bypassing as much, congestion as possible, is going to be a 90-mile journey, which on horseback is going to be about 2 days riding hard, doing nothing but riding and sleeping essentially. So if you'd like to get on that, then you'll probably want to head to the courtyard and find your horses.
How does like food and water work in D&D campaigns? Is it just assumed that you have it?
No. So generally people have rations on your sheet. You do not, but other party members do. You were unable to carry it due to carry weight limitations. Actually, I think you may have rations on your sheet.
I don't have rations.
Yeah, I know everyone doesn't because some people couldn't carry them. For example, even though he has like an insane carry weight, Bing's armor weighs like 75 pounds, so he can only carry barely anything. But I know that Maximus has some rations on his horse. Fargrim has, I think, some on his horse. I don't recall.
So if we want stuff, we should meet with the consul militum.
Yes, and on your way there, each person consumes 1 ration a day. So as a party, we are consuming 10 pounds of food a day.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
What about the horses?
The horses, we don't factor that in because I've done that before and it's way too much math.
Okay, cool.
And water, we're also just going to worry about.
Same with water. Yeah, water.
How many pounds of food do we have on us right now?
You guys.
Well, I have
to
none.
share that. I'm not sure.
I have 10 rations
So
right
that's
now.
20 pounds of food. And then.
That's 2
So
days.
that's enough for the whole party right there.
Yeah,
So-
that's 2 days. That's enough to get you to Palmdara. Yeah.
And that's a village that we could just get food from, right?
Maybe.
I don't think
So,
we can get it for
How
free.
much money does everyone have? Because the piggy bank of Maximus is looking a little light right now.
I don't know how to check that.
Lars isn't going to talk about his funds.
Yeah, I'm okay with not revealing that.
Bing, do you have any food on you?
On the horse, yeah, I have 20 pounds. It looks
Okay,
like.
so that's enough for 4 days of. That's enough for 4 days of food. You guys are fine, unless you really want to have extra.
I don't think that'll be an issue.
No, it's okay. I was just wondering. It's my first like long D&D campaign.
Yeah, Peach, we can fix that. You're supposed to have 1d10 starting gold from your judicial duelist background. So
Gold?
gold, yeah.
Sheesh.
Duelists get paid a lot of money. If you had gone spellcaster, you would have had much more than that. Spellcasters get paid
I know.
gold bucks.
I was spellcaster.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
Peach,
I
you also
switched
have
to
rations on you. 10 rations, 2 pounds each. You guys have
Whoa.
6 days of food. You guys are fine.
Oh, sweet.
It would be alright.
And that's assuming no stopping by villages or anything like that, which there's a village like every mile in the Empire, so I don't worry about it too much. Okay, so then we are going to grab a token to represent the party. For now, in between sessions, I'm going to pick a different one, but for now, our stand-in one is going to be the dog, because I think it's a cute token.
Oh,
Oh,
Dobby.
Yeah. So you guys head out to the central courtyard, and you
Is your dog with you, Dota?
It
not
is. His
inside
name
the-
is Gore.
Yeah, not inside the complex, but yes, in the courtyard. In the courtyard, a large Doberman will bound up to Lars and sort of defensively look at the rest of you, growling as it does so. It's a fearsome war dog. It's not just like a cute and cuddly animal.
Lars will just walk up and kind of pat it on the side and let him know it's okay.
Yeah, he'll calm down. And you guys
What's
can all...
what's the dog's name?
Gore.
Gore?
Powerful.
Oh, which one of you was the centur or was the legionary? Well,
Wasn't me.
he said one of you was, and I'm going to assume it's not you, and I'll point at Renesmee. And I'm going to assume it's not you, and I'll point at Zed. So, that leaves you two. Looking between Fargrim and Lars.
Do Fargrim's eyes glow like significantly?
I don't remember. I think so. Fargrim, you're a paladin, right?
Yeah, I'm a centurion.
Class-wise.
I've-
Yeah, you're a paladin, so that would mean your eyes glow. Yeah, glowing yellow. Yeah, so he has noticeably glowing yellow eyes.
And are there paladins in the legions?
Certainly, yeah.
Well, I know it's one of you.
You think they'd let me take a dog into the Legion?
Okay.
He looks like he's seen a lot of combat, and I'll point.
Would they, Alex?
Allow a dog in the Legion, of course.
Yes, I do.
Well, then I guess
But
I know a little more.
I take it due to you saying that it's not you. That would
just not.
And Esme spends this entire time just like petting the horse.
Yeah, the horse responds positively to you. I believe. at least the way I picture it, druids tend to be a bit more accepted by animals than the average person, so.
Yeah.
Not a very sharing bunch, are we?
How do you mean?
You're just not very. You know, I asked because I was also in the legions, and I thought we might have something in common, but you seem unwilling to share.
Lars will
That's
speak up.
Runs.
That's
Lars is gonna
okay.
speak
We'll
up and
get
say-
there.
Lars is going to speak up and say, you mentioned something about respect, and it seems that you may not heard most of ours yet.
Ooh.
Well, again,
bold.
that's okay. We'll get there. And how big is Lars, by the way?
He's almost as tall as you. He's like pretty. He's close to you in mass. He's probably bigger.
Sizing them up.
Yeah.
I'll step right up to him and say,
Well, let's talk about-
are you the one that said you don't talk to the weak?
That was Bing, I think.
Yeah.
I stand by with what he said, but no, I didn't say it.
Yes. Yes, I believe that we should respect everyone, be they weak or not.
We'll see
Everyone
when
has
the time-
something to add. For instance, him over there. I'll point at Zed. He doesn't look very strong, but I'm sure that he has much to add to the functioning of our work, or else he wouldn't be here now, would he?
Lars will just chuckle and say, if you think he's not strong, then you're not very good at sizing people up then.
He's like 120 pounds. I don't think he's very physically strong, no, but I'm sure that he could, throw me across the room with a fireball or something. There are many different types of strength, my large friend.
I think
Soon we shall see them all, I'm sure.
I think you can see
Hey,
Renesmee
while-
sort of.
Yeah, no.
impatiently
While
waiting
this
for
is
horses.
happening, can Renesmee mount her horse and
Yeah,
just
100
start walking?
100%. Yeah, your
Okay.
horse just starts trotting out of the square as all these guys are just like
Yeah.
measuring up, like pressing chests against one another. You're just walking away.
She's over it.
Yeah. And you guys can climb on horseback and join her. You guys got a long way to go, especially since you met up at probably 10 in the morning. So you're going to be riding well into the day, probably until evening. So it's going to be a lot of days of sore butts and riding through the countryside. So yeah,
If I want
Yeah.
Gore to try to catch any food along the way, do I need to make any check for that?
Gore will be
Okay.
unable to keep up with horses and hunt in the countryside.
Okay.
Can Gore
How's
keep
it-
up with horses regardless?
Yes.
Okay.
Gore is a very talented dog. So
fit
you guys, you guys begin to travel through the countryside. I need to make the token slightly larger so I can see the number of miles traveled. So you guys begin to travel through the countryside. You're going to be able to make about just across the Sedan River on the first day. So as you guys leave the imperial capital, which is the biggest city in the world, no comparison. It is huge. 100,000 people living within its great walls constructed under the reign of the previous emperor, Aurelian Varus Sol. You ride past shrines to the many saints of the Aurelian faith, statues of the Almighty with flames, rising from the hands, fountains depicting the Almighty creating the earth. It is a city singularly united behind the idea of empire and faith to the Almighty. But as you exit Mythos into Mithdosica, which is the province surrounding it, there are vast vistas of green rolling hills with central cobblestone roads flanked on either side by juniper trees, hedges, cultivated orchards. This is the site for about the first 20 miles of your journey. You pass by dense plantations that decorate the countryside. Cotton, pipeweed, fire moss, canab, and sugarcane, cash crops, because the imperial province of Mithdosica, where the capital is located, doesn't need to import things. It is singularly... It is provided to by the surrounding empire. Places like Regia or Cidalia provide all the food for that area. The roads are also busy in the imperial capital. There's near constant traffic. There's garrison towers every few miles with bonfires burning atop them, dotting the imperial road network. And the looks you get along the road vary from fear to disgust to respect. But they're all sort of unified in giving you respectful nods as they walk past, even though you don't bear any open signs that you are judges or authority figures. Yeah, it seems to be pretty. They seem to size you up and take into account that if you're not judges, you're certainly some sort of authority inside the empire. But then you pass into the province of Cidalia. Within the span of maybe 30 miles, the plantations give way to vast seas of wheat and barley. This is the food capital of the empire. The food here feeds, the 6 million souls which live within the empire's borders. And here there is less traffic, but the traffic that you do see is almost entirely farmers bringing goods to marketplaces. And as the sun begins to lower, you guys finally ride across the Sedan River. It's sometimes called the Cursed River because down its waters is the ruined city of Samnia with stories of, ghosts in the night and ancient kings living within the bowels of its crypts. But that is for another day, because for now you head to the far side of the Sedan River, and just as you're about to make camp in the very outer extremities of the province of Regia Nova, you pass through a village. In the center of the town, despite the sun beginning to get very low on the horizon, there is a crowd forming. Such things are usually accompanied by street performers or traveling bards pulling the crowds together, but there is no such entertainment. It's just a crowd forming around two men shouting at one another. Their words sort of get whisked away by, the distance that you are from the crowd and just sort of the general talking of the crowd, but they look mad. In the center of the crowd, the older man in the argument is waving his straw hat and almost seems ready to swing fists at the man that he's arguing with in the center of this circle.
I'd like to ride over fairly close and then stand on my horse to get a good look.
Okay, yeah, you get closer.
I'll go with him.
You guys, so
I will also go.
yeah, we have. It sounds like everyone then, or Lars and Fargrim. Are you guys gonna hang back?
Lars will kind of just scoff and hang back and watch.
Fargrim.
Fargrim's gonna do the same.
Okay. The two of you guys hang back as Zed, Maximus, and Renesmee get closer to the crowd. As you get closer, you can overhear the shouting. The man, the older one, says, "My horse! You stole it from right under my nose. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Walking around your property, eating your acorns? It's theft, plain and simple. You should be hung for this. Your hand's cut off." And the man who he's accusing is equally incensed as he responds. Says, "No, it simply wandered on my property. You've lost your mind. This is slander. Slander, I tell you." And a member from the crowd sort of taps one of the men on the shoulder, and within the span of maybe 6 or 10 seconds, the entire crowd looks towards the 3 mounted warriors at the edge of the congregation.
I'm gonna dismount and walk on up to them.
Yeah, the crowd parts to allow you through. There's looks of awe, as this tiny little village has probably never seen, the likes of you guys. And as you reach the center of the crowd, the 2 men that were arguing both sort of nod, not sure what level of authority you possess, but they just give you, respectful nods.
Gentlemen, I and my compatriots are imperial judges. Is that the right term, Alex? Imperial judge?
Yes.
Yes.
One of the men sort of gasps, and the other one says, "Perfect. We need some good law and order in this place. This man here stole my horse." And the other man begins to babble in response, but he goes quiet when he sees you still standing there.
He stole your horse?
"Yes, plain and simple. My horse went missing, and now it's on his property."
And I'll look at him. Well,
Why don't you just take it back?
"It's not enough. He's a horse thief. I know the laws. My grandfather, he did some things, and he lost a hand for it. This man should lose a hand. It's only fair."
what do you have to say for yourself?
The other man sort of straightens his posture and says, "Well, I know nothing of these charges. There was a wild horse which wandered onto my land. I decided to take care of it. I housed it. I fed it. I've no problem even returning the property. But now he calls me a thief. That's slander. He should be the one being punished. He should give me the horse as punitive damages, if anything."
Was your horse wearing a saddle when it went missing?
"Well, no. I mean, it was out just grazing in the orchards."
Oh, so it could have been mistaken.
"No, certainly not.
Let's keep listening.
But it was my horse. It was my thoroughbred riding horse. It was a wonderful steed. No one would mistake it as anything other than mine."
People seen it? Do other people know what your horse looked like?
He looks towards the crowd, and a couple people shrug, and others nod, and one of the men from the crowd says, "He's so damn secretive about it."
Does anyone
Secretive
know
about a
exactly
horse.
what it looks like?
You see 2 people from the crowd sort of raise their hand, and the guy who's being accused of stealing the horse says, That's his wife and his daughter. Those are hardly fair witnesses."
Is there a fence surrounding your property? She
The-
asked to the guy who owned the horse.
Yeah, the first man nods. "Yes, of course. I'm not some insolent owner." And the other man scoffs and says, "Holes in that fence."
Is there water around?
in the square?
Anywhere?
Yeah, there's probably a
Yeah.
fountain, a simple one.
Okay, can Renesmee use shape water and splash them both with water so that they calm the fuck down?
Yeah, I think like a globule of water rises up from the well and just splashes across the two men, and they sort of one of them lets out like a high pitched screech. The other one sort of just looks at you a little bit annoyed, and as the water drips down, they both sort of take a step back and calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
The crowd, there's a
Take a
chuckle sort of
breath.
echoes through the crowd.
How high is this fence?
It's about 6 feet tall. I mean, it could be jumped if the horse was really spooked, but there's no reason for it to be. My property's safe.
But are there no holes in this fence?
No, of course not, and he sullies my good name as a horse raiser to say such slanderous speech. He stole my horse, plain and simple. No other way I could get off my property.
Well, shall we go have a look?
I mean, I suppose so. It's late at night, but I suppose we can. And,
All right, let's go talk to the horse.
Well, have we made it about one day's ride?
I
Yeah,
don't think so.
you guys have.
All right, I'll turn back to my compatriots. I say we rest here for the night, deal with this in the morning, continue on our way.
Lars would have walked up by now. He's going to grab the man who is saying that the other guy stole his horse. He's going to have the dog nearby him growling and basically do a roll intimidation check and say, only the weak hide behind lies. Did he really steal your horse?
Ooh.
The man sort of shudders and says, my horse went missing and was on his property a day later. It doesn't just happen.
He'll throw him down to the ground and just say, I don't believe him, and walk away.
The guy sort of straightens himself up and says, I appeal to imperial law. Your judges, you should adjudicate this case.
Can we go to his property so that I can see the horse?
Is this something that's typical of calling a judge for? It feels a little.
You would
small
never call
time,
a judge
but-
for it, but if they're in the area,
Okay.
you guys have the authority to judge on matters such as these.
Okay.
I'd say we stay here the night, deal with this in the morning. Shouldn't take too long, an hour at most.
The man accused of horse theft says, you can stay in my property. There's room for travelers, if there's only the 5 of you.
Renesmee nods as like a kind of like a thank you.
The man who accused him of horse theft says, no, you should stay on my property. We have room for you, and I can even put up a place for your horses.
Lars will speak up and say, we'll stay at neither of your property if you're buttering us up.
They both sort of go quiet.
Oh, I wanted to stay with the horseman.
Honestly, so did I. Horseman seems, my horse is very important to me.
Oh, who's the heavier of the two? Like, who's fatter?
The guy
goodness.
accusing the other guy of horse theft.
I want to stay with that guy.
that guy. The fatter guy.
Can I stay with? Renesmee asks the group if they would agree to splitting up on who stays at whose property.
That is unwise.
Fair.
Lars is going to reply in Sinvalin saying he doesn't think we should stay with either one of them.
Okay. Then should we set up camp elsewhere for the night and deal with this in the morning?
It may not be a bad idea to not stay with either one of them, so we're not currying favor.
Are we so simple that would influence us? I just want to go.
No, but they think they will.
Who
And we
else
don't
has
want our-
property we can stay on?
I think most of the townsfolk are pretty quiet. I don't think they really want to offer up their abodes to wandering judges.
Noted.
Well, I'll be staying at the local inn if you guys wish to join.
Both of the men begin to speak up, and then just they start arguing again, trying to see who can get the first word, and then the
Laura's going to start to bark and get him to shut up.
yeah, they go quiet.
And Renesmee splash them with water again as well.
I mean,
They
you
just
can,
need
but they're already
to
soaked
shut up.
through.
Okay.
They go
Needless to
quiet
say,
again.
there's a massive reaction to them trying to influence us.
Yeah, getting barked and then splashed with water. They go quiet again, and the crowd, realizing that there is not going to be a good brawl or anything, slowly begins to disperse as Lars makes his way to the local inn, which there is one. It's very small. It's a single room, but you can see it advertised with a sign that's half falling off the signpost.
As Lars walking away, he'll say, even if our judgments won't be swayed by them. It's not going to stop them from complaining about the results if we give the other favor.
Renesmee nods. That
Yeah,
makes complete sense to her.
You know, who cares? There,
I just
You know,
want
if we
a nice
rule it-
free meal.
maybe it would have been good. And I don't know about you, but you said the inn was one room?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to stay with y'all.
I think I might just hoof it.
What is hoofing it? Out of character?
Sleeping in the wilderness.
Oh,
I
goodness,
see.
no, not me.
I'll do that.
All right, so yeah, Zed
Renesmee's fine with
yeah.
sleeping in the wilderness
Okay,
as well.
so Zed and Lars make their way to the one room inn, and Maximus, Fargrim, and Renesmee make their way to the edge of the town to set up a small little camp. For Maximus, Fargrim, and Renesmee, you can make camp at incredible pace. Fargrim and Maximus have done it 1,000 times, and Renesmee has her fair share of camping out in the woods as well. So you guys get a pretty nice camp set up. And this is going to come up in the future, so it's worth reminding you. There is the common understanding of what something like slander or horse theft is. There's also the imperial law and religious law understanding, which none of you guys are educated lawyers. None of you are like imperial bureaucrats in any way. So if you'd like to know what the law explicitly says, we can roll checks for that, since you may not have thought of doing that. So there'd be imperial law, which comes from the emperor. There'd be religious law, which comes from the church, and then common understanding, which you guys all seem to possess that level of common understanding of like what the words slander and horse theft mean. But if you'd like to know more about either of those, you can make a
I
check.
would like to
see if
make
we know
a religion check.
Yep, you can do that to try to figure out what the religious law is. For you guys, it's going to be typically pretty hard since you were not educated in it. Yeah, 15 is
I have
not
a
enough.
religious background.
You can roll a religion check to see if you can remember
Are you
recall what
proficient?
the religious law is.
Okay.
Do you have a check mark by the religion?
1 second.
And anyone who has a history or... even
Yeah, I
just-
do have a thing by the religion.
11 is
Well,
unfortunately not enough.
she definitely does.
Yeah,
Eesh.
11 is
Sad.
unfortunately not enough to recall what the religious law is. And then for imperial law, that would just be like history or intelligence or... Nah, unfortunately.
The church that I was at wasn't under these guys,
No,
right?
you
It was
were
a
in a
different place. It
Tabrashi
was
church,
wood-ass
yeah.
place. Okay.
Yeah, out in the plains.
Is that intelligence good enough?
It is, but
not
it's a
the right
save,
roll.
not a check. And saves have much
Oh.
higher modifiers than checks. Checks is you just click the text that says intelligence. So it's a good roll, but
I don't see it.
It's just
That's
where your
a nice.
numbers are
Yeah.
on the very far left of the sheet.
just says
That'd be
the
a
word
19,
intelligence.
right?
A 19.
Without
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
that
Unfortunately,
might
we'll have
be
to
good
go with the
enough.
first. That would be, but we're gonna go with the first history roll. Unfortunately.
Bad.
Yeah. So you guys set
Alright.
up camp and begin to head to sleep for the night. So that you guys, someone needs to remove 3 rations from their sheet just to keep it simple. Maximus, remove 3 rations from your sheet for the 3 camping outside.
Alex, I got a nat 20 on my history roll.
Oh shit! All right,
he
imperial
knows.
law. Okay, let's take a look. So there are 2 things to consider when adjudicating
Cavalier
this
and
case
horses.
according to imperial law. The first question is, do you even need to rule in this case? In a more official imperial court, there are such things as a motion to strike a case due to lack of substantial evidence for claims. So in a case such as this, dismissal for lack of evidence could be valid if you choose to use that. As for sentencing, the punishment for horse theft and slander are clear as day in the Varusian Code, which was written by the Second Emperor. The sentencing for horse theft ranges from a fine for the value of the steed to a hand being removed at the judgment of the presiding officer of the court. As for slander, the punishment for that claim scales with the severity of the claim. The crime of horse theft is a very severe case of slander, so it could be punished with equal punishment, meaning that slander can be punished with hand removal as well, if it is proved to be slander.
So slander's based off the crime that one is
Accused of.
accusing the other of.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
So it scales the exact same. So either someone's
Okay.
losing a hand or the case is getting dismissed.
Well,
or you could do a fine.
could-
Yeah.
I could rule not to. Yeah, all right. Fuck it. Might as well see if we can go 2 for 2 here.
Oh, for the religious law? Nah, not
almost.
quite. Not quite.
Almost.
You did roll a 20, but not in the right spot.
Yeah, and then we have Lars and Zed, the 2 of you guys heading into this small one-room inn. It's kind of late, though the sun hasn't fully gone down, so there's still a middle-aged woman cleaning up tables. It seems to serve as like the pub, the inn, the everything for this little town. And as you enter, the woman looks up and seems a bit surprised to see visitors at this hour and says, "Oh, welcome."
Hello.
Do you have any rooms available?
I got some mats, and she points towards a corner where you see some straw mats.
That'll do. How much is it?
Well, she looks at the two of you. What exactly are you? Just some wandering adventurers looking for some kicks?
I'm not going to mention what we are. I'm just going to say that we're travelers.
Travelers, then. All right, well, for travelers, it's
like
going to
that.
be 2 coppers a night.
2 coppers.
I will pay if she can break a gold piece. Can she?
She sort of scoffs when you say that.
Damn.
Break a goat. I'm sorry, sir. I can't quite do that.
Can you break an electrum?
Who exactly are you folks? I've never known an adventurer that could rub a few coins together, especially not that amount of coin.
Lars will just lead in and say, is there anything we can at least help around them to pay for our spot for the night?
Oh, goodness.
All right, yeah, you can split some...
Madam, we are imperial judges. Just let us stay the night.
Yes, of course. Why didn't you say so earlier? Of course you can stay the night for free. I love the Emperor.
Lars is going to kind of evil eyes that.
And
There it is.
she goes over to the mat and, tries to squish them down to make them slightly more comfortable, but it's just, mat over straw. And she says, and would my fine imperial judges like any beverage or food? On the house, of course, for the Emperor's servants.
Yes,
No,
please.
thank you, but my offer to help is...
Salmonella, dude.
At Zed saying yes, please, she says, all right, I'll be back in a jiffy. And she exits out the back door of the one-room building for about a minute.
Prepare to shit yourself.
And
Lars will kind of just start back on his head and be like, that's a bad way to get eyes on your back.
Oh, I've been undercover for most of my life. Let me live a little.
Well, keep me out of it next time.
You guys hear the squawking of a chicken from behind the small inn.
Wow, fresh.
And there's a delay for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then coming back in, she has a baked chicken carcass, which she places on a small pewter plate and gives over to you guys. And as she places it down, she says, I don't have any of those fancy imperial utensils, but I suppose your hands will do just fine, right?
Oh,
Lars will just roll over on the mat and keep eating rations with Gore.
She looks at that and says, all right, well, what about you, fine judge?
I suppose it'll do. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. She chuckles a bit awkwardly.
Salmonella.
And she'll step away and leave you guys to your privacy. After, cleaning up the bar a little bit more, she'll say, all right, well, I'll be back at 6 a.m. to wake you up. And she exits the one-room bar. There's nothing of value to steal, so she doesn't care to watch over it.
So I'll cut it up with my dagger and then use I don't want to get my hands dirty, so I'm going to use my mage hand to spoon it into my mouth.
Does this dagger look like fancy of any kind, or is it just normal dagger?
It would probably have some embellishment on it, most likely.
Okay. Lars will notice it, and then just whenever he's finished eating, he'll kind of strike a conversation on what led him to this spot. What brought him here?
Oh, awfully forward. But I should say, I suppose there's no harm in telling you. I was a spy with the Frumentari for most of my childhood. And then, after I completed my mission, my handler, who is the cousin of the Emperor, put in a good word, got me here.
Well, it looks like my judgment of you is correct not to mess with you.
What can you tell me of yourself?
Not much.
Oh,
I come from
I see.
I come from a family that I wish to not longer be associated with, which has put me in this position, but I'm only really here to make up a debt for beating up some guard who pissed me off.
So you beat up a guard and they grant you to be a judge?
It wasn't a guard they were expecting to be beaten by anyone.
Oh, so they were so impressed. I see. All right. And how's your dog doing? Good? How did you meet?
His name is Gore, and ended up picking him up whenever I was bar hopping as a pup, and he stuck with me since.
I see. Is he friendly?
If I allow him to be, but I would prefer if he didn't.
Oh, okay.
Gotta keep him combat ready and all. Don't want him getting soft.
What do you think of this horse battle? Do you think that it's even anything we need to worry about? It feels so.
It feels like
I
a
believe
waste of
that.
time.
Yes, I agree.
And I believe the man who's accusing him is lying.
I mean, who cares? Oh, you stole my horse. Just get it back. It's no big deal. I mean, I don't know. If it was really stolen, it would have been hidden away.
Makes sense to me, yeah.
But I don't want to waste any more thought on it. It just seems so pointless.
I've already made my judgment this morning. Whatever you guys decide is up to you. I'll be staying out of this.
All right.
You guys get comfortable in the inn as much as you can on the straw mats. You're at least a bit more comfortable than those outside as a light drizzle begins at around 10 in the evening.
I'm going to try to stay up later than him so I can do something.
Yeah, I think he'll drift off. His dog is like hair triggered, like very alert. It'll
It doesn't seem like he can like talk to the dog though, right?
You haven't seen him do that. No.
There's not any weird like mental gymnastics.
Not that you've seen.
You've seen him basically act in everything that I do. Like whenever I grabbed the man, he immediately came up and started growling, like as he was about to attack.
Yeah. Okay.
But nothing like telepathic. Like
he's not gonna be like, "Oh my god, did you see what Zed did?" He might wake you up if I do something weird, but he won't be able to communicate exactly. What
It'd be more like it depends on what you're doing, depends on how you act, but he'll probably wake up no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he drifts off, and you can hear his breathing change as he fully falls asleep. Something that you learned very intensely when you were undercover. Try to remember, figure out when people were asleep.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do the find familiar.
Yeah. You whisper the words, and you feel a sort of weight plop onto your shoulder. This sort of inky black amorphous blob appears on your shoulders, and you feel the weight weigh onto your left shoulder. The slow croaking whisper that always accompanies it being summoned goes out into your head, and it says, Xenius.
How's it going? Do I know it? Do I say his name? How do I say his name?
Het Hagal. He has told you this, that this is his name, and if you refer to him to anything else, he refuses to respond to you. He's very temperamental.
How was it like in the pocket dimension, Hetty?
Tiresome.
Okay, well, I figured I'd let you hang out a bit.
Purpose?
Just keep me company.
Tiresome.
And then I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, you fall asleep with the familiar weight of this small little inky black amorphous blob against your shoulder. When you look over, you'll see nothing, for it is almost always invisible, but you feel the weight there as you drift off to sleep. You guys
This
mostly...
didn't wake up Gore, did it?
What?
This didn't wake up Gore, did it?
Gore probably... I think he would probably open his eyes, look around, like let loose a very small growl, but upon not seeing anything nor smelling anything, would drift back off to sleep.
Oh, okay. It's not like a dog sensing thing.
No. And those of you out in the woods can drift off to sleep with no real problem and wake back up. And those of you inside, yeah,
I kind of wanted to chat.
Oh, sure.
While we were chomping on the rations.
I went to the restroom.
Go out in the woods.
Yeah, you guys are out on the edge of the woods beside the town.
Camping. It's a good time. So, Fargrim, how long were you in the Legions for?
Fargrim grunts and as if he were annoyed. And just continues to eat.
All right, then. And, how about you, young one? What's your story?
Renesmee looks up, and she can tell that he's not meaning to be rude or pry, but she gives him like a look of discomfort, and she just looks back down and says, far too early for that. But then she asks, what's your story?
Well, Uh, I came from orphanages. Both my parents died. My mother died in childbirth, and I spent until I was 12 in religious orphanages. At which point I joined the legions. When I was 17, I started fighting, and that's about all I've done with myself. A year or so back, I got hurt too badly to continue, so I just, started meandering around the countryside, helping out people as I could. And then one day I got the call to this, so here I am.
Renesmee shoots him like a look of sympathy when he says that he grew up in orphanages. She asks him how the legions were.
I enjoyed serving my emperor. I enjoyed, helping advance the needs of our empire. Which was, miss my buddies, miss my century. It was a good time. You see some things. People die, but I wish I was still there. It was not something I wanted to leave, but things happen. Here I am.
Renesmee smiles at him. It's nice to hear that you enjoyed your time there. And then she just continues eating. I'll say that she grows a little bit more fond of him from the conversation.
Yeah.
But she doesn't share her backstory, though there are similarities. She feels a little bit more trusting towards him.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a quiet evening. Other than that, rain begins late in, but a simple tarp can solve you guys from getting too wet. You certainly don't sleep as well as those inside the inn, but at least you don't have the potential of getting countless fucking mild diseases from sleeping in an off-road inn.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can all awake the next morning. Both for Maximus, no, not Maximus. Lars and Zed, both of you guys itch as the morning begins. Searching your bodies, you find bed bugs, which you have to pull off. And luckily for Zed, it's actually pretty easy because you have prestidigitation, right, Yogi? Or is that wrong?
No.
Oh no, my poor friend.
Uh-oh.
So no, it is not easy. Never mind.
Can you use the mage hand to pick them off?
That would work.
It'll
It's just
help.
the prestidigitation would allow you to instantly remove them.
Right.
But yeah, as you guys group up outside the inn in the early morning, you guys see a mage hand summoned by Zed just picking off gnats. This thing that makes most people eyes wide, like townsfolk are sort of gathered looking at this open display of magic, and it's just using it to pick off bed bugs.
Well, and Hagal, I'll request his help as well.
So
Invisible.
And yeah, so you guys just see bed bugs flying off his form with no obvious force touching them.
Not have a good night, gentlemen.
Have we went back up yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys are outside the inn early in the morning.
It was warm, at least.
Oh, I was plenty warm. You get used to it after a while.
I'd rather not.
That's okay. It's not for everyone.
And
Anywho,
most of the town is assembled watching you guys, partially because the case and also because the open display of magic.
Anyway, I spoke with Zed last night, and whatever you guys want to do, you can take part of this. I said my piece yesterday on who I believe.
Oh, you don't want to investigate a little bit more?
No, it's a waste of time, and we should get going.
I mean, it's a waste of time. It's our job.
Our job is at the end of our current destination. This is just a sideshow.
Hey, we're judges. This is what we do. But so are you gonna come or just gonna stay here?
Renesmee,
Well, if we're not
is-
leaving, I'll join.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Renesmee is down to come along, but she remarks, if he is a thief, he's an incredibly bad one.
True.
You guys be on your way then. I'll remain
That
here
is
and
very
pick you
true.
up before we end up leaving town.
You just come along. It's good for us to stick together. You don't have to say anything. Just that way we can leave. We can leave right from the farm if need be.
If I come and one of them pisses me off, I won't be able to hold myself back.
Noted.
And you're willing to accept that, then I'll join.
Well, yeah, it's on you. You're a judge. We're not responsible for your actions.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't keep asking if I said no. He'll just start getting up and start trotting along to join him.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can head out to the crowd. Both of the men have dressed up into their finest clothes for today. Both of them are on horseback, though the disputed horse is obviously not present. And they are both trying to do their best as, like, a countryside nobleman. They're not. It's very obvious. These are old threads, probably from many decades ago, but they're doing their best to look dapper despite the rain. And the man who... We'll just use names now because it's going to get confusing to try to use all this. So the guy who is accusing the other man of horse theft is named Marcus, and the man being accused is Antonius. And Marcus sort of waves at you guys as you approach and says, "Greetings, judges. Today we are going to examine the property, right?" Wonderful.
Did he introduce us with his name?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But he'll say, "Well, I suppose as we ride, it's good to tell you about sort of the things I do around here, because as you'll learn, I'm a pillar of the community." And the other man, you can see his face like practically going red as he's staying quiet.
I think that a ride in silence might be the best for all of us.
Oh.
And I'll look at I'll look at Lars.
He doesn't want to piss him off.
Yeah,
the accuser is Marcus, and the accused...
Antonius.
We don't know yet.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't know their names in character, but it's just going to get confusing being, all that stuff. So the two of them begin to ride through the countryside. You guys go a little bit of ways out of town, maybe a mile, and you come across, just like in Sedalia, there's vast open fields of wheat and barley, but here there's more trees, especially as you approach the Atlian foothills. There's more winding hills, there's trees and fenced off large farms that seem to only be for animal grazing. You see a full field of cattle bespeckled with black and brown dots along their bodies, and you pass along a small dirt road into the property of the accuser, Marcus. You can see a stables, which has two stable hands that are sort of outside. Clearly they've been briefed that you guys are coming, because even the servants are dressed up very nicely. His family is positioned in the doorway, almost like they're getting ready for a portrait. And you can see out in the corral, there's three horses sort of walking back and forth. And as you guys approach the property, he says, "The corral is what we use to train them, and then when we want them to feed, we send them out there." And he points towards a large grazing pasture, which is in some parts very high, other parts very low. Clearly the horses have preferences as to where they graze, and it butts up against a dense thicket of woods. And he says, "And that right there, in that field, that's where the horse went missing. We lost it for a couple of hours, and for 2 days I walked through that thicket looking for the poor horse, and now I go back into town, and this man has it."
Is there a fence in between the thicket and or is the thicket used as a border of the
thicket
field?
is used as the border. It's dense, filled with thorny vines and things like that.
But could a horse reasonably put itself through that?
I mean, it would show signs of it on its body, like pushing its way through a thorny bush and be torn to shreds. And
how does the fence look?
Roll me a perception check as you survey the field. As you guys ride, your little procession of maybe 8 people ride through the countryside and observe this fence. And if anyone has a perception proficiency, you can also join in on this.
I will.
Okay. You guys all look around the fence. And I think Zednius, Maximus, and Renesmee, you all sort of notice the same thing, which is that this fence is really old. But there are 3 sections of it that are pretty new. How new? It could be, maybe a month old, but maybe not. Some of them could be really new and artificially aged by, splashing water on it and trying to make it look older. Because there's some sections of the fence that could have fit a horse that looked to be newer sections than the rest of the overall fence that encircles the grazing area. And the man who's being accused says, "What? Those were holes. Less than a couple of days ago, there were holes in this fence. I'd swear my life to it." And the man who is accusing him says, "No, absurd. There were never any holes in the fence. We fixed them as they came along."
I get a closer look at one of them.
Yeah, you can... Do you have any carpenter tools proficiency?
Nah, nothing like that.
Then yeah, you can hop off your horse, and clearly this is newer than the surrounding fence, but to date the age, kind of hard.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyone know anything about woodworking?
Unfortunately not. Can we get a closer look at the horse?
The
Yes, that would be the next logical
accuser
step.
says, well, it's still on his property. For the moment, anyways.
Anyone else need anything? Need to see anything else here?
I don't believe so. Renesmee looks over at Antonius and asks him, is there any reason that this man would try to frame you?
Antonius shrugs and says, no, probably not. He looks over at Marcus and says, I think his pride has just been insulted, and he's trying to look for someone to blame. And Marcus obviously, begins to scoff at that. But upon, seeing the dog and Lars and remembering the splashings of water, he goes quiet. And Antonius continues and says, I think he just can't accept that he made a simple mistake.
You believe that the horse escaped by
Well, of
its own
course.
will,
Yes.
and that he accused you before noticing the holes in the fence?
He nods. Seems plausible to me. More plausible than me managing to steal his horse under the eyes of his watching family and servants in the middle of the day.
Can we see the horse?
Yes, my property's just across that thicket.
Shall we?
And you guys exit the property, head back out into the main sort of cobble path, and head into a dirt road to another property. This one is far smaller. This one only has a very small stable. Maybe two. There's like two separate. What do you call these? Alcoves, troughs. I don't know what you call them. The things that hold horses. There's only two of them, and there's no servants, just his family, which is assembled in the doorway, similar to the other man. And here you can see two horses sort of walking around the corral. One of them is a large workhorse. It has these massive broad shoulders for moving a plow. And then the other one is a very fine horse. You've seen your fair share of horses in your day, Maximus, having looked for war horses and a riding horse for your steed. And this is a thoroughbred riding horse. It's probably very fast. It's very lithe. Things like this would cost an absurd amount of money.
Oh, nice horse.
Both of them nod at that.
All right, we'll go up and inspect it, see if there's signs of it being pushed through the thicket.
Yeah.
Renesmee will do the same, and paying closer attention to its emotional state.
Roll me an animal handling check, Peach. What Maximus is doing is pretty surface level, but you're trying to read the emotions of a horse.
I'll do that too.
Okay.
Yeah, just see it's.
You have our two horse whisperers approaching the.
Why is it so much higher?
Just RNG. He just
Roll
rolled better.
You have a higher modifier.
Yeah, you do have a higher modifier. The two of you guys approach the horse, and pet the mane of it and speak to it. Look along its body. There are signs of damage along its exterior, but these are not walking through a thorn bush levels of damage. There's just there's very deep marks from when you kick the side with spurs. If you kick too hard, you will cut the horse. There's cut marks all along that area. The horse doesn't seem particularly pissed off about them, but they are there. And as you sort of analyze the horse's state, Maximus, it's in heat, 100%. There's no question about it. This is a mare in heat, 100%.
Is the other workhorse,
Yes, it also is.
Wait, both of them are in heat, or?
Yes.
Are both of them mares in heat?
No, one of them is a mare. The other one is what the fuck do you call a male horse?
Stallion?
A stallion.
Oh,
There
so
it is.
the male can't be in heat.
What's
that
the
would
term
be
for
a-
it?
that would
There's
be
this thing where
He
they
has
get fucking
a penis.
Oh, that one.
He
Yeah,
has
yeah,
a cock.
Yeah,
That's
he has that. That's
in
the one.
heat
That's
for
the
the
one. Yes,
for the male.
that thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Humor
Yes.
brain, you can call it.
Whatever. Yeah, Coomer brain. There. Thank you, Dota. That's what I needed from you.
The dirt marks. Are those? Have I seen those before on cavalry horses immediately after a hard cavalry charge?
Yeah, people
Is
who
it
are
the
way
horse
too
pushed very
people who are
quickly?
way too hard on their horses do that. You don't need to do that. A well-trained horse
Oh, I
doesn't
see.
need you to dig fat flesh out of its body to tell it where to go. This is someone being way too harsh on their horse for no reason. If they're good at training, they wouldn't do this.
Renesmee turns around and immediately like snaps at Marcus and asks him what those scars are.
He rides his horse a bit closer and says, "Oh, those are marks from my stirrups."
And you think this acceptable?
Well, of course, it's my property. I can train it how I wish.
You're not very good at training
Renesmee
it.
smiles.
He furrows a brow.
I see no wrongdoing here.
He looks at you. What are you talking about? It's on his property. It walked off mine in the middle of the day. It clearly pushed...
I see that there were holes in your fence, and I see that they were repaired quite recently.
A couple of weeks ago,
looks
yes.
back to her companions.
A couple of weeks ago, before any of this incident came up.
I think it a shame that you decided to waste judicial time. I will be
Or
finding
Renesmee.
you, and only you, this horse.
He looks
We will trade it with the horse that I have brought here, and I will be taking this one off of your hands.
Renesmee, hold
The guy
Hold
looks
on
pleadingly
there.
towards the other 4 judges.
hold on
I
there.
was just going to be smiling.
While I agree that the horse simply wandered out of the holes he failed to fix, it is still his property.
Do we know that it's his, even?
Yes, everyone has agreed to that.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you want me to check, I can confirm. At least based off smell.
No, that's okay. Unless you're gonna cast Zone of Truth, I don't think that we need what you're gonna do. That's okay. He didn't steal your horse. He found it, right? While it's still yours, you're entitled to it back. We're not gonna punish him for simply finding a horse.
He just sort of stays quiet. The other man says,
Now,
"He's besmirched my reputation."
indeed he has. Indeed he has. He has besmirched your reputation.
Seems
I
like
believe
assaulting
that-
of a horse would be an okay payment then.
I believe that makes you guilty of slander, my friend.
He
But,
looks at you pleadingly.
how much is this horse worth?
The 2 of them sort of look at one another and they think for a moment. The man, Marcus, says, "Maybe 100 gold," and Antonia scoffs. "Easily 200. Easily. If we were selling it to
you
the
pay
legions,
that?
I could probably get even more than that."
Can you pay that without going destitute?
Marcus says, "No.
I don't believe you.
What? I don't know. What do you want me to say, Judge? I can't
You
afford
are-
it."
You can roll an inside check if you want to see if he's lying.
Ah, that's a great idea. Fuck.
Damn, he doesn't know.
Can I roll as
No,
well?
yeah, if you have a proficiency, yes.
Oh,
Oh, I
I don't
didn't
have
have-
proficiency.
How much
Can I
does your
do a
farm make?
perception check?
He says, well, it's all about how frequently we can sell our horses. Unlike those, crop dwellers in the city, or in the village, we can't rely on steady income. It's all about, how much we sell our horses for. You're not just charging me for, the price of the horse, but also, the years it took to raise that into such a fine steed.
I hereby order you, as judge, to pay him 200 gold by the end of this year.
He looks towards the other judges pleadingly.
Can we go off to the side and discuss? I find it unbefitting to come to a decision in front of these 2.
You know what? That is true. My apologies. Give us a moment, will you?
The 2 men sort of ride their horses away from one another, but also away from you.
Lars is going to say and send Valin to Renesmee. How bad do you want that horse?
I'd say 200 gold by the end of the year is... This isn't in response. I don't speak simple.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my my invisible little duder go up to them and kind of see maybe what they're saying. Not Marcus and Antonius.
Yeah,
if they're like,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
if they're like talking
Here.
under their breath, like,
Yeah.
oh man, I don't know,
Sure.
in case
I
they give
understand.
something away.
I understand.
Renesmee will probably just kind of go off on a little maybe perhaps like more to herself, about how it's extremely cruel to treat a horse in that manner. Those scars were far too deep for anyone to be able to justify that as some sort of training. I don't think that man should have the right to that horse.
Are you talking to the
Well,
group?
Yeah.
well, I've seen a lot of horses being trained, and I can tell you he was trying to train it, not effectively. Hold on.
Wait, didn't we do an insight or perception check earlier, and DM said that it was clear that it was like an overuse of force?
Yeah, no, it is, but he's saying that he was still trying to train it.
Ah,
He was attempting to train him, but he's doing a very poor job, but I don't think that's a reason to revoke his property.
do you think he would rather use the horse or pay 200 gold?
I mean, 200 gold, most likely he can probably get more than that for the horse.
Yeah.
Like you said, the legions that's probably what he's breeding it for, actually, to sell it to the legions.
How nice are our horses compared to this horse?
Much worse. Your guys are average horses that cost like 50 to 60 gold, depending.
Yeah.
Even Maximus's horse?
No, Maximus has a very well trained
That's real
horse.
nice. Yeah, I figured. Okay.
And as you can see, there are no such signs of those marks on my horse.
True.
What about Vagar?
Yours is a pretty average steed, Arkham, unfortunately.
Get wrecked, Vagar.
Okay. Talking shit about your own horse, damn. Alakazam.
I do not care for taking the horse for personal reasons. I only find it insulting that the man would come and ask for judicial time.
To be fair, we kind of just showed up.
That is true.
They still both asked us to judge on their case regardless.
We're here. I mean, anyone who has a problem ever is going to ask us if we happen to be in town.
The way I see
at
it
around
is,
this
I want to
time-
get something out of us wasting our time here.
At around this time, Zed, you feel the familiar weight of Het Hagal sort of way back down on your shoulder, and he whispers into your ear, "Liars."
Telepathically, I think I have that with him, right?
Sure, you can, but he's... Actually, no, I don't think you do with this one. I think
Wait, he just said it out loud.
Yes, he whispered it into Zed's
Wait, isn't
ear,
it part
yeah.
of the spell that I can?
Maybe
whispered
a part
it.
of the spell, but this particular Het Hagal prefers to
He said it out
speak
loud.
through. Yeah, he said it out loud. He whispered it into
Okay.
your
Do we
I'm
hear him?
gonna.
Probably not, unless you're specifically listening for it, which I don't know why you would be.
No. Yeah.
I'm not like in the front and the middle of
Yeah.
like everything anyway. I'm gonna like telepathically tell it which one. Both.
There's like a long pause, and you feel the weight sort of shift on your shoulder. You hear Maximus, and they're like still speaking in the middle of the group, and then you hear the whisper return. The accuser.
Yes, that's what we figured. Thank you for confirmation.
The weight shifts again and sort of goes off your shoulder, and you see a depression appear in the grass as it plops onto the ground. Yeah, and the rest of you in the group can continue.
If it like, I don't want it to go on the ground. I put it in my pocket. I don't want him to.
Dude, he's a fucking sentient being. He's gonna not. He doesn't want to be in your fucking pocket. he'll hang out in the back of your horse if you want, but
Okay. I don't want him to like give himself away. What's he doing?
he's just trying to vibe, man.
Okay.
Well, anyone else have anything else?
The way I see it, we've wasted our time on our travels already, so I say we should get something out of it. Give the lass a horse, why not?
Well, technically, we're not within the legal bounds to revoke his property.
We
The
can
way I heard it
consider
from the
a
person we spoke
fine.
to back at the Capitol, sounds like we could make our own rules out here.
I suppose, but I don't think it's still his property. You know,
Then
we're
let's bring
punishing
it
him.
to a vote. All in favor of taxing him a horse, raise your hand. Renesmee raises her hand.
I'll raise my hand. I want
Ours
something.
raises his hand.
I'll raise my.
Jesus Christ. Based. All right.
Renesmee smiles wickedly, very excited to tell this piece of shit that she's about to take his prized horse.
Oh my god.
Well, shouldn't we vote on who gets the horse? Just
So
kidding.
be it.
Sure. Well, Renesmee doesn't specifically care. I'll speak. In
You
her
seem
voice,
like you
so-
want it the most. I'm not really going to press for it.
So be it.
Okay.
Okay. So
Are we also taxing any gold amount, or is this in place of that then?
No, we
perhaps-
won't tax him any gold amount. That I will put my foot down about. We're taking the man's prized horse. Leave him be with that.
Fine, fine.
We're giving
Renesmee
him
nods.
Esme's horse, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're swapping out.
So that's still 50 gold.
That's
probably.
you're just making up shit as you go along. I like it.
Can
making
we-
random shit.
The issue here being is that he might also want to use it for breeding, which means we're denying him his future livelihood.
Well, he can get one last night with it.
No,
I'm not staying another night. I'm not staying another night.
No, Renesmee is taking this horse at that very moment.
Lars will speak up as well and say, well, he shouldn't have brought us all into this and lied about this whole situation if he didn't want to risk losing something.
Agreed. Can we walk over and let him know his fate?
Yeah, At any point, you can exit the larger group and over to the pair of them. Marcus looks very sullen, whereas Antonius is just vibing. He's just waiting for the result of the thing.
Renesmee goes over to Marcus.
Yeah.
Does anyone come with her?
Lars will come up.
I'll
Sure.
go.
Good to put on a united front.
Renesmee looks at Marcus and says, "We have found no wrongdoing here except the waste of our time.
This was a
For
valid case
this-
that I brought before you.
We have deemed it slander on your behalf, since we have found no evidence of this man stealing your horse, and you went out in front of the entire town square and accused him of doing so. In response to this, you will be fined this steed, which you believed wrongly was stolen by this man. In return, I will substitute my steed, worth approximately 50 gold.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he wants to speak out, but upon seeing, 4 other judges, he just sort of stays quiet.
Yeah, and she looks over at both Marcus and Antonius. If we hear that you have not respected this decision, we will not hesitate to come back here and cut out your tongues. She smiles.
The Antonius nods happily, and Marcus just stays quiet.
Is this understood?
Antonius says, "Yes, of course, Lady Judge," and the other one, Marcus, just stays quiet.
Renesmee goes over to the new horse, pets its snout a little bit,
Yeah.
and leads it off.
And you abandon your current horse. Feels bad, man. Holy shit.
What are you going to name it, Esme?
I have no idea yet.
Okay, as for walking off, I'll walk up to Renesmee. What are you gonna do when the city asks for its horse back?
I'll buy them a new one.
Well, hopefully you have 50 gold by then.
With the 50 gold you have?
Or they can consider it payment.
I think before we all walk away, everyone else walked away, and Lars is going to punch Marcus in the stomach and then spit on him and say, "That's what you get for lying."
Jesus Christ!
Oh my god!
He doubles over, and you just ride away, and he just sort of shouts after you, Lars, "Thug! Butcher!" But
And hearing this, Lars will stop, and Gore will turn around and start running towards him.
yeah,
stop
he's
right.
just gonna-
I'm
No,
gonna
listen,
immediately
right
start
as-
running towards that.
Right as Gore gets right up near him, he'll just stop it because Marcus will just be in fear, and then he'll walk away
Okay.
just to put
Margaret
fear into his
notices
heart.
this and pats Lars on the back and says, "You, I like you."
Oh shit! He got the seal of approval. Okay. Well, you guys leave the pair behind, Antonius and Marcus, up a horse. Huge, massive. Yeah, +1 horse, -1 horse.
Horse
alright.
math.
Yeah, also, Esme could just sell the new horse, and then bingo, bango, bongo.
Well, then she has no horse. Although I suppose she'd be
You get
up
a good horse.
Depending on
She'd be
her
up
destination, she may
horse.
not need a horse anymore.
one more horse and
Just
then
turn into a horse, Esme. Come on.
gold.
True. All right.
Chad.
So you guys have about 3/4 of a day's travel left to Pomdara. There it is. Fuck, I almost got it. Pomdara. So
Got
do we
it.
continue our travels, or do we have anything else in this tiny little village? Sounds like we're good to go.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we're good to
I think
go.
so.
All right, you guys begin to ride. During that riding, Zed continues to pick at the bed bugs. Lars just at one point just hops off, lets his dog just fucking go to town, and it's gone and pretty quickly. You know, dogs are, they're very effective. But soon enough, the fleas are dealt with. You guys approach, head through Regia Nova. Moving across the rocky and hilly terrain of Regia Nova, soon you see the Deadwood. Towering, leafless trees as far as the eye can see to the south. Some trees tower over their compatriots, almost like watchtowers embedded into a great bastion of wood. However, before the Deadwood, maybe 2 miles short, you see a settlement. Built more like a fortress than a true rural village, the buildings are tightly clustered together around a centrally square town. A low palisade of only 6 to 7 feet of wood surrounds the town, with several barns, fields, and farmhouses clustered around the exterior of the palisade wall. There's fields between you and the village proper, and looking down into the village, you can see caved-in roofs of houses, bodies in the town square, though from this distance they're just distant specks. You can smell the smell of rot drifting up from the town, just entering into your nose, and already gore is growling even from a nearby hilltop, and the entire area is just permeated with the smell of death.
Jesus. Renesmee is probably like quite off put by being so close to the Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
Did we go to the town?
Who braves
why
the okay.
If people are hesitating, Lars will go in the front.
Yeah, you and Gores begin to march down the trail, ride down the woods. And as you get sort of down from the ridge into the fields surrounding the low palisade wall, the smell of death shifts. It's not coming from the town, which is what you originally thought. It's actually emanating from the fields. It is horrific. These bodies are at least several days old as they begun to liquefy.
Like
Did we see the bodies?
It's tall. The wheat and barley fields are tall enough that you actually don't see any. You see some areas where the wheat is compressed, but you can't see like down in the fields. You have to walk out into the fields to go see, the bodies themselves.
Do they all recognize the like scent of death?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, you guys have all smelled dead bodies before and rotting corpses.
Lars is gonna whistle at Gore to go take a look at the bodies.
Yeah, the Gore disappears into the wheat. Almost like literally 2 steps into the wheat, you can't see him anymore. This wheat is incredibly obscuring, and he returns maybe 30 seconds later, holding a human finger in his mouth.
Well,
And he spits
they're
it out
not-
at your feet.
they're not living anymore. Let's keep moving.
Yep.
Oh no, they are
We
not.
continue trotting.
Okay, you guys trot
I would
past.
imagine the bodies are too far gone to get any semblance of cause of death.
You haven't looked, so you don't know.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
we go
I'll-
up to the
You
bodies?
could tell by the state of the finger.
Yeah, the finger is only partly rotted. There's some bits of like flesh-eating bacteria eating it, but it's mostly intact. It's not like bone or anything.
Yeah, I'll head up to a body.
Okay, yeah.
Unless we will go as well.
Are you going in on horseback in the fields, or are you dismounting from your horse? Or
Could I even see if I went in? How high is the wheat?
it's
like
about as high
chest
as a
height,
person.
or-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go in on the horse.
Okay, so
Renesmee will go in on a horse as well.
all right, so the two of you guys ply your way into the fields while the rest of the group waits on the main road. And as you approach one of these clumps where the wheat is compressed, you can look down and you see a corpse. It is a middle-aged woman. She has a shawl and some standard tunic on her. Her legs have been torn to shreds, as if the ground were pulling at her. You see these like long, almost like lacerations along the calf and areas like that, but only below the kneecap, really. Things pulling on her. And then finally, at her neck, basically just where the base of the skull is, you see a large spiny thorn pierced right through there. Clearly the cause of death.
I'm gonna immediately
The
wheel
what?
my horse around and fucking peel out of the wheat.
Okay, Renesmee, do you follow him?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, you guys quickly exit from the wheat out onto the main road. And just after looking at that Maximus, you do the quick math, looking at all the other things. There must be at least 20 other corpses like this in the small area of fields you guys are near.
Don't let your dog in the wheat, Lars. the body, it looks like it was killed from below by something, as well as it had a pierced throat.
Mhm.
And there may be something out there.
You vastly underestimate Gore if you think he'd be caught by something like that. He'd be able to detect something if that was going to happen.
Hey man,
Are we able to do like
alright.
insight or
What are you looking
perception?
for?
Just anything that's like off other than the cause of death.
What do you mean? More so,
Um,
yeah, I'm just not sure what you're trying to investigate. You saw the slashes on the legs, you saw the pierced spine, like the thorny, almost like plant-like spine through the neck.
I guess specifically whether or not they were moved there or if they died there.
How would you tell?
If
Without going
Impressions
back
in
out
the-
into the
there was, like,
fields.
Yeah,
Impressions in the grass,
well,
or-
I'm down to go back out into the
Okay.
fields. I just kind of want to see if there's like drag marks
yeah, sure.
or something.
Roll me an
or-
investigation check as you ride your horse back out into the wheat field.
Okay.
After what Maximus said, Lars is going to whistle and kind of just keep Gore on alert, though.
Yeah, Gore has his ears pricked looking at their surrounding fields. And Renesmee, you head out and you see that it looks like these people were not dragged here, but you can definitely see some trampled grass from the direction of the town. It looks like people were fleeing the town and then they got dragged down where they stood.
They got dragged down, like, so that was probably their place of death.
Most certainly. It's definitely not, like, 100-pound body leaves a lot more marks than someone charging through the wheat, and it doesn't look like someone was dragged. It looks like someone was, like, pushing wheat out of the way, and then they got slammed into the ground by something. But at around this time, Gore lets out a bark in the direction of the town. And I think everyone that's on the road, so everyone but Renesmee, looks towards the sort of gate into the palisade. It's just a simple wooden arch. And then you hear, moo! And a large cow walks past the entryway, sort of wandering out onto the main road towards the fields.
That's so cute. I think.
Ow.
Well, upon seeing that, Renesmee kind of like trots back to her companions, and she says, "I believe that they died there. There seemed to be trampled wheat and barley, almost as if people were running from the town, and someone let their cow loose, or somehow it got loose.
Based off that, there's
this might
probably
be
not much
abandoned.
town left. Yep.
But we should
be
investigate,
preparing
I
for? We should go in cautiously. We don't know what it is in the town.
Absolutely, something went very awry here, and given the proximity to the Deadwood, I think it's bad."
So, what is our marching
Probably.
order as we approach the town?
I have. I don't know how fast. How fast are we going in? If we wait a little bit, I can send. I
How
might
would
be
you-
able to look at the town.
Yeah, but how would you explain that to your
Ooh, let me
allies?
see.
Yeah,
Wait, you would do what?
nothing. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Think of how I explain this.
Well,
Oh, your
so-
little blob.
Yeah,
I
assuming
see.
that doesn't happen, what is our marching order as we head into the town? So who's up front?
I'm in the
I'll-
middle of two beefy boys.
Two big V.
I'll
I'll
be up
take the
front.
lead.
All right, so
I'll
Maximus
be
is
behind
leading
them.
in front. Lars behind that.
I'll
Lars
be
and
somewhere
Lars.
in the middle.
Okay,
I
then
have
we
a
can
fast
just have
horse.
Yeah, and Fargrim
Can
can
we
take
do
up
every
the rear.
other big guy,
Mhm.
small guy, big guy, small guy?
So I think we got a good one, which is Maximus, Lars, Zednius, Renesmee, Fargrim at the rear.
Oh no,
Yep.
Renesmee's got my back.
Small, big. That's a good.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a good order.
Okay, great. So you guys begin to ride along this wooden road, stone road. As you approach Pomdara, you begin to hear other sounds of wildlife. You hear the clucking of chickens, the loud oinking and snorting of pigs. And as you pass through the wooden arches into the town square proper, the smell of death returns. Much more pungent than out in the fields, because around this central fountain, which contains a statue of the Almighty, was clearly the last stand of some local body of resistance, whether it's the legionary garrison or militia. It's hard to tell because the bodies have been just obliterated. One looks like something like a massive weight hit it from above and it's just splattered, like the body is just obliterated across the cobblestones. Pigs eat the bodies. They're omnivores. They have no discrimination in that regard. Chickens pluck out eyeballs and then spit them out. Can't really eat those. But the animals seem untouched. None of the animals that you've seen seem harmed. The only dead animal you can see in the square is a dog, which lies dead next to its owner.
And touch the animals. Interesting.
So we're
Except
in
the
the
dog.
beginning of the town.
Yeah, you're in one of the. It's a very small town. It's like one central square, and in the central square, you see roughly 10 human bodies, most of which had spears or other sort of not impromptu weapons, but low-grade weapons. No swords or anything fancy like that.
Arrows.
No arrows. You see a javelin, which basically just a spear, and you do see a singular axe on a guy who looks like maybe he had scale armor at one point, but again, some massive weight hit him and scattered the scales all around the surrounding area.
It looked like
shields on the ground.
from above.
It looks like some immense weight came thundering down from above and just splatted it.
We look up. Is there anything
There's
that...
a clean blue sky.
Are there any
That's not
dead
good.
guys with shields?
Yeah, there's a couple shattered shields, but almost everything here was destroyed through blunt force trauma. Like everything here was destroyed through bludgeoning, just power. So there's almost nothing anything that could break is broken.
Okay.
Are there indentations in the ground, perhaps that would
Footprints?
indicate
There
some
are.
massive
Yeah,
thing?
not on your side of the square. Your side of the square is devoid of anything like that. But on the far side of the square, every maybe 12 or 13 feet, there's this circular just mass in the ground. It's not a footprint in any traditional sense. It's just a circular dent in the ground. And it's not two, it's just one every 13 feet or so.
Huh.
Every 13 feet.
Yeah, roughly.
What does that sound like?
I think Lars is going to motion for Gore, kind of look for another person like them, kind of motion to himself, get him to smell him, and then look for something else that's alive that's a person.
Yeah, Gore gives you a smell, and then rapidly he raises his sniff, and then goes, sort of lowers his head and looks at you and sort of whimpers.
Well, looks like there's nothing else living here, at least for people.
Should we see if it's looted? Maybe give us an indication of the
Is this the town we're meant to go to?
Yep.
Okay.
What were we actually told to go here for?
Bring
Was it
peace.
specified?
It was
Is
specified.
Regia Nova
I'm gonna
the
see if
place we're
anyone
going?
can remember. Regia Nova is the
Oh.
region that you guys are in. The specification for this one was that the village had stopped sending out responses to just basic stuff. They hadn't been able to get in contact with it, so you were to go there.
How long ago?
You weren't informed. You were just told to go
Okay.
there and see if they were okay, and then
At least a couple days.
yeah,
probably.
No, they are not okay.
yeah, and then after that, report to Fort Romulus once you're satisfied that you know what happened.
Or the specific buildings have any sort of markings to indicate what they are?
Yes, this is clearly a pre-planned town. This is not something that just showed up naturally. This has been built probably by the legions during the Galentine War a couple of years ago. There's a smithy. This has had its roof shattered inward from some massive force hitting it from above. There is a legionary barracks. This one has been largely untouched, but the door is been shattered inward as if some immense force came from the front. And then there's several residential buildings, which are 3 stories, cement, or concrete, more accurately. Apartment buildings, which seem to be almost entirely untouched. There's basically no sign of damage to them.
I'm going to stand on my horse. Which direction were the footprints?
This would be coming from the south in the direction of the Deadwood.
I don't know. How? Yeah, never mind. I won't do that.
Lars is going to speak to Renesmee and Sinvalin, saying, "You mentioned the Deadwood earlier. What do they have to do with this?"
The Deadwood is a place that harbors great evil.
Are you also responding, Sinvalin?
Huh?
Are you also
Are you
responding in
responding
similar?
in Sinvalin?
He spoke to me in Sinvalin,
Yes.
so only Lars
Yeah.
and I can understand.
I think
I can understand.
Yeah, but the common tongue of this area would be Mythos or Common, not Symbolin. So he's intentionally speaking to you in a non-native tongue.
She'll respond back in Sinvalin, yeah.
How bad's his accent?
Lars' accent?
Yeah.
Lars, where'd you learn it? Did you learn it from a tutor?
I'm going to say I learned it from a childhood friend, so
Then it
fairly
would
well.
be, yeah, I would say basically no accent.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, she responds back, the Deadwood is a place that harbors great evil. I had the misfortune of spending a few years inside there. She
Do you know of
doesn't
anything in it that
elaborate
could have done
further.
this damage?
Renesmee looks dead ahead, and she says, necromancers. I don't know how,
You think?
but they're in there.
Zed
doesn't
responding
look
is a
like
surprise to Lars.
Yeah,
yeah, he
it's
responds in
like-
Symbolin. Yeah, true.
And I don't think I know that they're in there, or at least they were about 7 years ago. I don't assume that the forest has gotten any kinder since then.
Zed, Het Hagal whispers into your ear. Fairies.
Fairies.
Did he say that out loud?
Zed? Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Lars and Renesmee, I'm guessing are gonna look at you.
Yeah, Renesmee just like turns to him and
One
is like,
fucking looks at you.
"Excuse me?
There's fairies in the Deadwood, aren't there?
How do you know that?"
Books and things.
Yes, I'm sure that the Deadwood has Fae presence. Why? Do you think this was them?
Maybe. It's not something we can just rule out instantly.
This is more like lore related, but DM,
Yes.
are fairies capable of like getting boulders and going like boom?
Fae is such a broad category of creature. It includes everything from face-stealing dogs all the way to borderline demigods that could smite entire villages. So it's hard to say, but I mean, it theoretically, yes, it is within the scope
just
of
like
power.
powerful
Yeah.
enough, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
fairies are not just the tiny little sprites. Those do exist, but the Fae category of creature includes insane numbers of things.
If he said fairies,
Fairies
what
particular,
is-
those are tiny little, like, 6-inch tall sprites.
So not really capable of doing this.
No, certainly not.
So Het Hagal is just trolling me.
No.
It means fairies probably had something to do with this. Doesn't necessarily mean they did it.
Yeah.
We don't know
Renesmee, yeah.
You know that.
Okay.
I'm gonna start shuffling through the buildings, see
Yeah.
if shit's like taken.
Yeah, I think you can. So you start doing that. What is everyone else doing as Maximus dismounts and starts to look at, into the apartment buildings and looking at the smithy and things like that?
Renesmee wants to view the border of the Deadwood and
Okay.
see
That's
if
where Lars
there's...
is gonna go with Gore. Yeah.
Okay, Renesmee and Lars are doing that. Zednius and Fargrim, what are you guys doing?
I want to go with
Which way
them.
are
I
they
just
going?
wanna-
Sorry, they're going towards the Deadwood?
They are. What'd you say, Bing?
We're
No,
looking
I'm
at the border.
What'd
I
you
was
say,
just
Bing?
gonna say how Fargrim will get tired of just waiting and start trottling in
Sure. Where are you going to go to in the village?
into
though?
the. I'll go to the border with them,
Okay,
but I'm
great.
determined to go in.
Oh my.
Into the woods.
Good heavens.
Wait, determined to go into the woods?
It
Yeah.
sounds like it. Yeah, you
Oh,
guys start approaching
Jesus
the
Christ.
southern part of the village. Zednius, so we'll do Maximus first since less happens there. You look around, the answer is nothing. Nothing has been taken. You see gold coin, like someone's payment for probably, they must be an artisan of some sort because you just see their payment on their dinner table. Nothing taken. You can see food rotted, left totally in place.
How much was it?
It was 1 gold and 2 electrum.
Don't mind if I do.
But yes, nothing is touched. Literally nothing has been touched in any of these apartments. Even in the smithy, which other than the fist which came down, there are perfectly formed swords. There's a suit of scale mail, which is probably for a legionnaire. There's a helmet. Like, none of it has been taken. Entirely untouched.
Okay, I'll wander outside. I
Well,
assume
that,
I see no
I would
one.
like you to roll a history check before you wander out.
Okay. I can do that.
So,
About.
you served in the 7th Legion, which largely fought out on the Tabrashan Plains for the entire time you were inside of it. But you heard about the Galentine Wars, which was something fought for a year at the very beginning of the Plague between the forces of the Deadwood and the Southern Legions. In that war, the Legions had... The creatures that the legions were fighting had no interest in burning things, taking property, getting coin. They just wanted to kill every human they could get their hands on. And you heard stories of citadels containing hundreds of stores of weapons, vast amounts of magical items. None of them taken. Just every single human being killed. This, I think it probably sends a chill up your spine, as this is the type of thing that would happen in the Galentine Wars. You would find entire cities abandoned from forces of the Deadwood.
What when you say forces of the Deadwood?
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
You've heard all sorts of shit. You've heard straight up, like undead armies. That you've heard stuff like that. You've heard angry, like corrupted tree ents. You've heard of dryads. You've heard of fae and pixies. You've heard of basically every single ridiculous thing in the world. You've heard that was in that war. The only thing that is for a fact is true is that necromancers are somehow involved. But that's it's super vague. You were never really privy to the details of that campaign.
So, like, the legionaries who fought and survived, did they come back and just, like, never mention it ever again?
They
or
only
did they...
spoke of legions of the dead.
Oh, okay. Alright, that's always how it was referred to as?
Yeah, that's what they would say.
Okay.
And they always had this, look in their eyes. It was they were not
Okay. I'll leave now. Did everyone abandon me?
No, it's a small one square like village. So you can just see your 4 companions approaching the southern wooden arch to exit like the town to get a closer look at the Deadwood.
Oh, good fucking Christ.
And as you guys approach this, looking out in the direction of the Deadwood, there are several, as I mentioned before, farmhouses and barns sort of close to the palisade. One of these barns, the roof is bulging outward, as if some immense mass is pushing up against it and pushing it outward. You see the tips of branches poking up through the top of the barn, and Gore immediately begins to growl in the direction of that barn.
This is in the Deadwood?
No, it's not. Nothing in this village is in the Deadwood. It's maybe Deadwood's still a mile away. This barn is maybe a couple hundred feet from the edge of the palisade.
Does the Deadwood, do we think that it tries to like expand its borders? Because you said people like try to cut it down at the edges, so it tries to like encroach, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so it seems like to me that's what this is trying to do.
Lars going to mention then whatever is in that building isn't human, based off of what Gore found earlier. I don't know if we want to check that out or not.
Well, it looks like something's bulging out of it.
Something that probably isn't very friendly.
You think it's a living being that's that large? We could go check it
out. Whatever it is, it's not human. Because Gore didn't find anything from there earlier.
God's prayers through that, I say as I
catch up to the rest
roll
of
up.
them. Yeah.
I see it 2 ways. It's either we deal with it now or later. We could go to the border of the Deadwood, but then if that thing comes out of the barn, we'll be attacked from both sides.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
we can deal with it now,
Do we have anyone that is crafty enough to get close to it and then run away if need be? While the rest of us hand back.
Let me see.
Could wild shape.
I'm going to stand on my horse and whisper telepathically to the creature, Het Hagal, to go see what's in the barn, and I'm gonna use my boots to kind of like get a little bit closer up in the air.
Okay. Het Hagal is pretty slow. He's just like rolling on himself.
He's 40, so he's decently quick.
I mean, sure, but he's slower than a horse, especially when going full speed. So,
Sure.
yeah, you guys just see, Zednius get like up on the stirrups of his horse, like looking out towards the barn, and then just remain in that position. And it's going to be probably a couple minutes before you get any response. So, how long?
I
do you
said I was
have?
gonna fly over there as well.
What'd you say, Zed?
I said I was gonna fly over there.
Oh, you're gonna fly. Wait, you're casting the fly spell?
No, I have winged boots.
Oh, so you gotta mention these things. Yeah, you can click your boots together, and it gives you flying speed. So you guys see these little tiny wings flipping from the edge of his boots, and he begins to fly up, and you're going directly above the barn?
Yes.
Okay, you fly up directly above the barn, and looking down, you just see a normal wooden roof with branches poking up out of it, with leaves growing on those branches. You'll be there for maybe a minute.
Look into the windows at all?
There's
from
no windows
a distance? Oh, okay.
And then you'll hear sort of from the ground, like beside the barn, you'll hear a little bit of like a little Cymbalin squeak, like lift up into the air so you can hear it. And it says, "Come."
Okay, I'll lower down and see.
And Het Hagal will hop up onto your shoulder, and then he'll whisper, "Monster."
What did it look like?
Large.
Get in the. I'm gonna put him on to one of the cracks where the tree's coming out, and then I'm gonna see through his eyes so I can get a look at it.
Yeah, sure. You can place him on that and look through his eyes. And one sec. I will reveal something.
What does it look like? What does it look like he's doing?
It looks like he's. So you see him just holding like nothing, like in his hands, and he's just like pressing. He's like doing that and standing on the roof of the barn, like holding something into one of the cracks, but there's nothing there in his hands. And looking through the crack, you see the following. Your tokens are not this close. I just wanted them to be on the battle map. But if you move to the center, that is what you see. This is a towering tree. It is huge. Its massive body presses up against the barn. You see bits of blue magical text running along the length of the body, and these massive trunk legs pressed into the ground with almost like visible energy flowing up from those roots into the body of the tree, because the tree is damaged. Some of the branches of the tree are lopped off and slowly regrowing. You can see that around its beard were all these smaller little sapling trees. Many of those have been cut down to almost nothing, and they're slowly beginning to regrow. And the eyes of the great tree, though they're depicted as open on this, are closed, but you can see blue light sort of eking out in the cracks of the closed eyelids.
Okay, that's good enough. I'll get Hedhagol back, and then I'll fly my way back over to the group.
Yeah, you fly and rejoin the group.
Speed is of the essence here, my boy.
What did you say?
Speed is of the essence here. The longer we wait, the longer it heals.
It's a tree, damaged tree that it's got a face and glowing eyes. If we want to kill it, we should probably do it soon while it's still trying to regain its footing.
Big enough to do all that?
Recognize this tree since she spent so long, or like recognize like the kind of description since she spent so long?
You never saw anything like this when you were with the necromancers.
Not
I've
even
heard
when I escaped?
Nope.
Oh.
I've heard stories
what
from the
kind of
campaigns down here. Would
it be like a nature check to know what that is?
No.
Oh, an ant.
It's a monster, not nature.
Got it.
Sorry, Ginger, what did you say?
I've heard stories from the campaigns down here of Ents. That might be what it is. Big enough to do all that? I'll point at the village.
Well, the steps were 13 feet apart, so I believe so.
All right. I'd say let's have a go at it then.
Where do you want to approach the barn from? The main entrance, one of the side entrances?
I'm casting Armor of Agathis on myself.
Okay, put that in chat.
All right.
Am I able to cast? Are we in battle yet? We haven't done initiative,
No.
right?
No, I'm preparing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will
can
also
I-
prepare and activate my tattoos.
Can I cast guidance on one?
You can only one at a time.
person.
Yeah, can I do it like one at a time on everyone?
No, because put it in chat actually, maybe.
One person total.
I
'cause
think
it's
that I can
concentration.
do.
That's
I
what I
can
think.
do it on everyone, but then
Put it-
only one person can. Yeah, I'll put it in
Yeah,
chat.
just put it in chat.
Look at the speech bubble.
Yeah,
There
you can
we
only
go.
cast it on one person because it's concentration. Concentration spells mean Renesmee needs to actively focus on keeping that effect going on that person. So she can only have it on one person, and they get to use it once before it expires.
Renesmee asked the group if anyone would like her guidance before going in, and clearly meaning the magical kind.
Yeah. Sounds like no.
I'll respond in Cindolin and say, sure, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, she
Why do you-
casts guidance on Dodo.
I'm gonna go add that.
Why
cheat
do you
sheet,
all keep speaking that?
True.
Is there something that you want to say, Lars, that we can't hear? You've been speaking in whatever tongue that is quite a lot.
It's just nice to get to use this language once again. It's been a long time for me.
I can understand that.
So,
Renesmee's just explains he simply accepted my offer. As she's like casting it on him.
sure.
Well, alright, I'm just gonna go in there and get it out.
Suppose we should.
So, you guys can ride to approach the barn. As you get closer, you recognize that there's sort of maybe not a breathing pattern, because you don't think that trees breathe, at least not in that way. But there is this sort of rhythmic pulsing. You can feel it in the earth, almost like the earth is being pulled towards the barn. Not enough to actually pull you closer, but just this feeling of the earth tremoring underneath you. And the roof of the barn raises and lowers by maybe a foot or so during each of these intervals.
Alright then, I'm gonna start banging my lance on my shield.
Yeah, Yogi, why do you have 53 health?
I get 15 temporary HP.
Oh,
from
there's a
Armor of
box
Agathis.
called temporary hit points.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you bang your lance against your shield. This cacophonous metal noise fills the area, and the barn shudders and creaks, and you hear something rising to its full height, and more branches begin to poke out of the top of the barn, but nothing changes.
It seems like it's sleeping, she says to her fellow comrades.
Oh, we should kill it, right?
While it's sleeping, I suppose so.
You
We could burn it down. I feel like that would be
Burning the
most
barn, yes.
effective.
That could work.
If that thing can move, it can spread the fire. I don't think we want to burn the whole forest down.
That
Why
is
not?
true.
I think that'd be advantageous for
Yeah, I
horrible
don't
things
see-
about the deadwood.
You definitely
regrow
do not
anyway.
want to burn the deadwood down. You do
It'll
not
grow
want to
back.
awaken the anger and force of the creatures that lay within it. Trust me.
My child,
isn't
I've
that
heard
what we're doing by killing this
angry
ent?
creatures that live there. Well, all right then. Now I'm going to light one of my torches and just.
Yeah,
Whoomp.
you light a torch, toss it at the edge of the barn. A slight flame begins to spread, and then you hear a thunderous, long, echoing noise, at almost like a ripping sound and a tearing sound from inside of the barn, and a wall of high reeds appears above the ground right where you threw the torch, snuffing it out.
What are high reeds?
Just a type of plant, like a
Oh,
thing you'd see along
okay.
rivers, and it just all rises up and knocks the torch into the air, snuffing it out.
Don't think it liked that. Is there like straw poking out in it?
There is.
This back here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go yeet a torch at all that because it's not gonna be able to put that out in
Yeah,
time.
you ride around the rear side.
I'm
the
going to
perfect
kind of
kindling.
walk him on his way, moving that way and saying, we don't know if that was the forest that stopped that or the ant. I wouldn't mess with it.
Can
Being yelled at me, didn't it?
Can Ents speak or understand any languages?
You don't know. You don't know anything about Ents.
We know that it destroyed this village. I don't want to talk to it. I want to shoot it.
I
That's-
believe that it could have destroyed the village because humans are always trying to encroach upon it. If we could simply
It's the
convince
other
it to
way
go back
around.
into the Deadwood.
The village because they yearn for the death of humans.
I agree.
I've
And
seen
Stu?
Maximus, you approach the rear.
the forest. Yep.
Roll a dexterity check.
Damn it.
You trip on the rock and
No,
die.
it's definitely not that.
Dexterity. Oh god, it's been. Oh, just a check
Yep,
or a
just-
save.
Save. Sorry, save.
Oh, okay.
As you ride around the rear part,
Oof.
a small part of your mind remembers. Wait, out in the field, it's almost like the plants in the ground came alive, and then one of the bundles of hay, a long, thorny, like piece of hay that's basically formed into a rope, flies out towards your face. That is a failed check, so you take 2d6 plus 2 piercing damage, as a section of hay flies out going towards your head, but you manage to dodge to the side, and it cuts a long line along your cheek. You take 9 piercing damage.
Can I look for like a weak spot in the barn?
I need to know what Maximus does,
You
because
need
if
to
he
know.
remains in
Oh.
the distance of that,
Sure.
it's just going to strike him again.
No, I immediately run like back up.
Okay, great. You can move your horse, right?
Back up. No, I can.
Okay, I'm going to give you the ability to do that.
I don't think any of us can.
Does your horse have a name?
He should be
Yes,
able to.
Mickey.
Mickey. Why can't you move it? Oh, I know why. You should be able to now. Wait, one sec. No, not yet. Now you should be able to move it.
There we go. Yep.
All right, yeah. So you ride away very rapidly, your horse whinnying as you move away, and the entire barn shudders
go.
once again. And Renesmee, do you speak Druidic?
I believe I do, yes.
Yeah, you get like the first half of a syllable. Like it's just very long and drawn out. It takes maybe like a full 10 seconds for the first half of a syllable to come out of the barn.
Can Renesmee, wait, what's a syllable that comes out?
It's
Ruh?
It's just half a syllable. You can't really. There's not much you can do with that.
Are you like translating it into common
Into
for me
common,
to understand?
yeah.
Yeah, it's ruh. Like
Ruh.
that?
Yeah, like
or
that.
raw?
No, it's the first one.
Ruh? Okay.
Run.
Can Renesmee shout out to the ent? Can she try to do that in Druidic?
Yeah, you speak the language,
Okay.
so
Renesmee shouts out to the ent, and she asks it to return back to where it came from.
The shuddering of the barn continues. How long are you guys going to wait? Are you guys just waiting for Renesmee to
No,
finish
I'm
speaking with the...
looking for a weak spot in the barn, and I'm shooting it with an Eldritch Blast.
Well, there's doors. Those are weak spots. I mean, if you're trying
We
to
don't
make
have
the barn...
any vision on this thing. I'm trying to break the barn so we can see in it.
Yeah, you could probably try to... Yeah, so you fire an Eldritch Blast against that doorway. Miss. Sorry, it hits, but
well, two comes out. Two come out.
Okay, yeah, the second one strikes. Roll damage. It's probably going to shatter the door inward. Yeah, you shatter the door inward, revealing much of the interior barn. And as that does so, over the course of, maybe 30 seconds, you hear the full message in Druidic. Run to me, brothers. Do you translate it, Renesmee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she immediately looks over both of her shoulders to her party, and she says, "It's saying run to me, brothers." I think
There's more.
Yeah, I think that it's summoning more.
I'm gonna, as much as I can, I'm just gonna continuously fire at this barn to try and break it down.
We're gonna roll into initiative then, because the creature has some tools up its sleeve
Okay.
to prevent annoying little warlocks from poking it.
Let me click my
Make sure you
guide.
click your token before you hit initiative.
Mhm.
Are we giving Hell Vagan, what is his name, Hagal, the same initiative as me?
Yeah, that's the same with my dog, so yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
What do you mean by click my token before doing my initiative?
So on the actual map, click the picture of Renesmee, and then click the initiative on your page. That way it ties it to your token.
Same for you, Bing.
Did I do it?
Nope.
No, she forgot to click on her token. You did roll initiative, though.
What is this shield with lightning on it?
That
Oh,
is
thank you.
guidance. No, sorry, that's flying. Wait, no, it's armor of Agathis. There it is. I got it. You have a lot of effects on you right now.
I'm
We can
not
all
flying right
move.
now.
Okay,
We
so
can
just
all
armor of
move
Agathis
each other's
then.
forces.
Yeah,
Nifty.
flying is automatic, but I do have a charge limit.
Yeah. All right, Bing. You need to roll initiative. Initiative is in the center middle of your sheet. It's underneath armor and health, I think, and it says initiative. You just click the text.
Okay.
There you go. All right, and we'll explain how to roll it directly in order later. Oh, you actually clicked on your poggers. You had his token selected. Huge. All right. So the first creature to act is going to be Maximus, and the inciting incident that causes you guys to roll initiative is the entire barn shuddering and a large section of earth, like a massive clot of earth, slamming into the ground beside Zednius, thrown from inside. So,
Oh fuck.
yeah.
Is there a way to make these people's profile pictures smaller?
Yes.
Yes.
In the top right, you can control it from being big all the way to just having it be text.
If you go to, I believe it's graphics, right?
I don't remember.
Sorry,
Audio
it's
and
just,
video.
so in my way.
Yeah.
No worries. It's the settings, the cog symbol, and then audio and video display, and you can set the avatar size. There's large, regular, and small, or just the name tags.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Much better.
All right. Maximus Titus Gaius Bologna. What do you do?
Yeah, fuck. I'm not going in there, and I'm not going back down there.
So you're just remaining in your current position?
Shit. Yeah, I guess so. I'm gonna ready an action, ready a lance strike for if anything gets within range.
Okay. Zednius?
I'm gonna fly over towards Maximus to give him and shoot the barn to maybe give him some vision.
Yeah, I mean, you can go 60 feet by flying, so that's as far as you can get.
I would also recommend
But
you
I
guys
just want
mount as soon as possible.
I
He
just
already
want
did. He flew
to
off his horse.
Oh.
I want to shoot the door. Just kind
Which
of bust
door?
it down some more.
I think you want to shoot here. Just
I wanna
That's
shoot-
just a
you wanna
solid.
shoot-
That's a solid wooden
Okay.
wall.
I want to. So what's?
That's a door.
Is this a door?
That's a door. You already blew that one open.
So this door is not opened yet.
Nope. It's not.
Okay. Then I'll shoot that door.
Okay. Yeah, you fire. You blast open the door. And I need to add a flying thing to your little marker. Flying.
Shit.
We'll do
And you might want to look at the charges on wing boots and adjust it.
Okay.
There's a lot of fly. It's pretty strong.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you blast open this door as well. The creature sort of groans from inside as it does so. Okay, that's your turn then. Renesmee. Oh, this horse is gonna leave if you're dismounting.
Minus?
No, not yours.
I'm, like,
Zenius's.
I'm well in the air, right?
Yeah,
Like, decent amount?
well, sure. 30 feet is probably,
Renesmee also unmounts her horse. Is that like a full action?
No, it's, actually, yes, if you don't have land vehicles proficiency, yes, it is a full action.
And I don't get any, like, bonus stuffs, right?
No.
You can move,
You can do
but you
bonus
can't
action
do anything
on
else.
move.
Oh, yeah, you have a bonus
Yeah.
action and movement. Yeah.
Okay, am I in front of anything that's seemingly dangerous?
I mean,
Did anyone get hurt here?
She should probably have a little more
a
vision.
little more vision? Sure.
How do I get more vision?
I'm
you-
just-
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I blew both the doors off so you can see inside of them.
What? Where do you want to go? So you have 30 feet of movement. So you can head inside the barn if you'd like to be the first one to bravely charge in. It sounds like right now you guys are just poking and prodding, so you probably want to avoid being in a position where the creature can throw something at you.
Yeah. I'll go. Is all of this? Wait, is all of this like open?
Yeah, no, it's not open. That's a door, though. That is the massive front barn door.
Okay. I don't know. I'll go like over here, I guess.
You can move your token. You don't need to draw.
Oh, I'll go like over yonder.
Over yonder. Okay, that's 25
What's
feet of
this
movement.
beside me over here?
That is a giant earth clod that was thrown by the tree ant.
Means if it landed
Oh.
there, you could be hit there.
Yeah, that's not very good. Okay, well then I'll go here.
Okay, that's 10 feet of movement then. Well,
Yeah.
right there you can actually get a better view of the creature because you're closer to the doorway, so you can see the rest of the another portion of the creature.
God.
You may want to press yourself directly up against the wall if you want to avoid having something thrown at your head.
Oh, here.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. The tree ant is going to throw a debris toss at. It can't quite. It's still going to throw it though. So a massive debris clod slams next to Fargrim's horse, and you don't have a land. Do you have land vehicles proficiency, Fargrim?
I think.
You'll see it in the bottom left. It'll be in tools proficiencies.
Oh, my sheet? Yeah, I have land vehicle.
Then you are fine. If you didn't, you'd probably be thrown off your horse, but now you managed to stay on the back of your steed as it rears backwards from the earth clod slamming right next to it. And it's now your initiative. What are you doing?
I'll get off my horse.
Okay, you dismount. Vager fucking bounces out as soon as possible.
How far can I go?
That was your bonus action, so you can go 25 feet because you're a dwarf, and then you can action dash to go further if you'd like.
Is that little area right in front of it, right in front of the tree ant, is it a wall or is it a
That
gate?
right there is a doorway that has been
door.
blasted inward.
No, like inside.
Oh, inside?
Or-
That is a horse stall, yeah.
We should try and lure it out if we possibly can.
Do you think that's possible?
We could try. Go open the door, shout at it or some shit. Maybe it's just gonna sit there and throw shit at us. You know, only one way to find out.
I'll probably. Trying to think. Fargrim's pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
So he'll probably go into that upper entrance.
Okay.
Can
You- yeah,
I
you have-
reach?
You can move 25 feet just ambiently, and once you move 25, we can talk about your other options then, if you want to go in.
Yeah, we'll go in 25 feet
Okay.
upper entrance.
Yeah, so you can hold down left click to select your, to drag your token around, and if you click right click while selecting it, it'll tell you the exact distance that you're dragging it, and you can move 25 feet because dwarf.
Wait, what do you click
I
to
don't
do
know
then?
why it just went all the way down.
Yeah, you can just hold down the left mouse button to select your token, to drag it around, and then you click right mouse button while you're doing it, and it allows you to measure the
Oh
distance.
shit!
Yeah. All right, so you step into the
fuck.
barn, and you're the first person to actually see the full extent of the barn and this creature. It is huge. It towers up to the roof of the barn, which is maybe 25 feet high, and its great legs merge together into a single massive trunk, which still pulses with energy. And now you have an action. So as an action, you can dash to move another 25 feet, or you can dodge if you want to just prepare for something to slam into you. Yeah, those are basically your two major movement options.
Is that like wheelbarrow? Is that big enough?
That is
to
a huge
cover?
cart, so yeah, it's totally big enough for cover. It's a massive cart.
Okay. How often can I use the dash?
You
or
can do it once
crouch?
per turn as your action. So you have three things you can
Okay,
do on a
then-
turn: movement, bonus action, and action. And one of your actions can be to action dash. So you could easily get into cover behind that cart.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, yeah, you sprint, dashing into cover behind the cart, sort of sliding down into cover behind it. The tree roars, maybe not roars, but this crashing echo fills the barn, almost deafening. Lars?
I'll dismount as my action.
Okay, horse is gone. GG. I'll mark the doors that have been blown inward with a little mark.
I think for now, I'll just move up to here with Gore.
Okay. I'm just gonna trust that you control Gore and like his movement and all that shit, because I don't really remember like how you can control him, so I'm just gonna leave it up to you.
I know for dash, disengage, dodge, or help, it has to be bonus action, but I believe movement is just his own movement.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Maximus.
Alright, I'm going to thunder on up. Let's see, how far can I make it? Oh, that's not a good place to go. Can I action dash like with my horse?
Yes.
Is that a good thing?
My understanding is that yours and your horse's movement are essentially one and the same. So that was your 60 feet, so you have 60 feet left.
Oh, I see. Okay, yep.
If you action dash, you have 60 feet left.
I don't think
Alright.
it'll fit in one of these doors, though.
Nope. It will
Is this door? Is that an action to open or a bonus action to happen?
not. To open
open.
the door? That would
Open,
definitely be an action due to the size of the door.
Okay, I'll just dash up here then and prepare to open that door later.
Okay, you dash to the top of the barn. Your steed is like your token.
Where?
It moved off the map somehow. Your horse is frothing at the mouth, ready for battle. Zenius. Everyone else
I'm
is
going
preparing
to
go in.
fly. I'm gonna fly over here, but be high enough. I want to be sort of high enough that I can see the ground near him, but I don't think that he can throw something at me.
Sure.
I can like see his foot.
Yeah, you can get to a position where you can see his foot and his head cannot see you, but I don't think a thin wooden wall is going to hold back if he lobs a projectile at you.
Sure, but I'm gonna do the sphere.
Ooh, okay. How many charges do you have on it?
I've got 5. I'm
Ow.
gonna use. I used Armor of Agathis.
Oh, oui.
I'm gonna use 3 of the charges, and I'm gonna cast it pretty much right up next to him. So if he fails the save, he
Level
gets
5 spell?
Wait, yeah, that's true. You get a charge per the level of the spell. What level is Armor of Agathis?
It's level 5 because I'm a warlock,
What
or it's
the
level
fuck?
3. My bad.
Okay, I
My
was
bad.
going to say
I was about to say.
I use
Level
2
5?
charges.
Okay.
I use 2 charges.
if you put it right there, it's going to impact your allies.
Even through the wall.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's fine. Well,
Based, totally based.
they can't get hit by the. They can't go through the wall and hit the sphere. They'll just like crash into the wall.
Yeah, they'll still take damage doing that, though.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge AoE. This is
Can
the
I move
effect of
it? Can it be here then?
Where?
Can I move it here or here?
Move it there. That would still hit. No, it wouldn't hit Fargo. Okay, there you go. All right, yeah, you put at the feet. You're using 3 charges, so you guys watch as this tiny little dot of blackness just fires out from Zednius' fingertips, and then it hits in the ground in front of the tree, and burying itself maybe an inch into the ground, expands into like the size of a football, and then just begins to suck a black hole, pulling everything around it towards it. Any creature within it must make a dexterity saving throw. All right, trees are not known for their dexterity.
Oh, they are not.
On a failure, they are pulled 10 feet closer to the sphere. I don't think that it is possible to move the tree ant currently. I don't think it is physically possible for this orb to do it. We'll have to discuss size requirements.
Will it suck like bits of them into the hole, or did I just?
There is,
I do
because
no
of the
damage?
entire trunk of the tree currently buried into the earth, I don't think the sphere is capable of moving it closer. So, no. But the area around is difficult terrain, so I do need to mark that. So, yeah, the size of the creature is probably going to... Well, I'll write that into the ability, but yeah, the size of the creature has to impact the effectiveness.
How long does that stick around for?
A minute or until he chooses to cancel it.
Concentration.
Oh, wait, if that's concentration, doesn't your flying end?
No, because it's a magic item that doesn't need concentration.
Are you sure about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you
Or
stop
cancel
that as soon as possible? Because it's kind of hard for us melee boys to kill that thing when that exists.
Well, if I see that it won't suck it, I'll just drop it with as a free action.
Okay, yeah, you can drop it almost instantly as you realize it is incapable of moving the great bulk of this tree. It's just not strong enough for that. All right. So that was your action. Bonus action or movement? Oh, you already moved. So
I
bonus
used
action.
movement already. Bonus action, I don't have anything to use.
Okay, Renesmee.
Your little dude can't do anything?
Not with a bonus action.
Oh, okay.
Renesmee, I can't. I have Thorn Whip,
Mm-hmm.
but you're saying that I probably can't use it.
What?
That because I
Why
couldn't
wouldn't you
move
be able
it.
to?
What?
It still does damage,
Yeah,
doesn't
Thorn Whip
it?
does damage regardless of moving the creature. But yes, a small Thorn Whip is not going to drag a, 10, 20, I don't even know how much trees weigh, but a lot. Do you want to go in and attack it, or do you want to remain here and wait for the melee boys to get fully engaged?
I want to shout out at it again and say, please go back to the forest. We do not want to harm you if we do not have to, but in Druidic.
Druidic, sure. Okay, that is your turn. It takes, probably around 6 seconds to shout out a
For
message
the
like
next
that. The
10
tree is
minutes.
going to throw a boulder at, not boulder, clots of earth at Fargrim. So Fargrim, you are behind full cover, so you have +5 to your AC. So I don't know what that number is, but, Oh wait, I already rolled one. A 7, no, a 12. All right, so a great clod of, no, it does not respond in any way. It does not care.
Oh.
A great clod of earth comes flying towards you, Fargrim. And what is your AC? With a +5 because of cover. Yeah, armor class with a +5 because you're behind full cover.
It's 18 plus 5.
I hope more than 12.
So 23.
23. All right, so this great clod of earth slams against the cart, like shattering the wood that you were hiding behind, but it does no damage to you. But that section of cart is just obliterated now. And the tree, once again, lets out this thundering, just like echo, which makes the whole barn shudder. Fargrim.
How do I measure how close I am again?
You can either grab your token and measure it like that, or you can use the measuring tool. It's the just like a ruler on the top left bar. Yep, you can approach.
So would that?
You can just get within 5 feet. You don't need to be directly like on top of it. So 25 feet,
Okay.
you'd be close enough.
Because I want to be able to use.
Thank you for the art, Ethan. Or is that Peach? I can't tell.
I want to be able to use.
Thank you for the art. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
If I used Conquering Presence, would that hit him from here? 'Cause it's
Yes,
30
it is
feet.
within 30 feet of you.
Yeah. All right. I want to use that to see if I can.
Okay, the tree is immune to the frightened condition.
Oof.
Does that use up his charge?
It does use up his charge, yes.
Hell.
Hey,
And the action.
good information for the future, though. So that was your action, so you still have movement and a bonus action. And you are no longer behind cover because the cover you're behind got obliterated.
Okay.
You could run into melee, you could run behind one of the horse stalls, you could run out of this building.
Yeah. Let's.
He could prepare one of his smites. The spell smites.
True.
Not the charge smites.
You need an action to
moved-
prepare.
If you...
Like,
what,
if
Bing?
for a wrathful smite or something, it's a bonus action.
What's up,
Wrath
Bing?
is fine. Yeah.
If I moved, would I be unable to do that?
If you move... No, so movement is its own separate thing, then as a bonus action, you could prepare the smite.
But we just learned that it's immune to frighten, so wrathful smite won't do anything besides
Yeah,
damage.
he has a bunch of different smites. I think he took like 3.
Okay. The other ones will probably do stuff.
So you can see your smites on your spell sheet, Bing.
Yeah, I
spells
have
tab.
Wrathful and Branding.
Okay.
Smite.
Branding's always good.
Uh, okay, I'll move over to the stall, probably
Okay, yeah, just move your token.
right here. Oh,
Yeah,
obviously
you
using
run
measuring
forward,
tool.
taking cover behind a stall. This is not going to provide the full +5 from full cover. It's just going to provide a +2 from half cover because it's not that big of a stall. It's not like a full
And-
sheet. And then the way smites work is you're going to use your bonus action now to prepare it, and your next attack is going to be infused with the damage of Branding Smite.
Or
Or,
you could wait till next turn, because if you get hit, you might lose concentration on it and waste a spell slot.
that is true.
Okay.
Do you think you'll
Yeah,
be hit
I mean,
before your next
it-
turn?
Yeah, I'm pretty close, and I don't
Okay.
think this will be very high.
Then we can save
Yeah,
it for
wait.
next turn. Lars Aurelius Titus... Lars, what are you doing?
Oh god.
Lars has a Titus in his name too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dang, we got 3 Tituses.
yeah, it's a common name.
I'm going to use.
We all have
that.
the same father.
Action dash, okay.
Yeah.
Based.
Although Gore doesn't need to, just because
Yeah,
he had 40
he can just-
movement instead of 30. Yeah.
Indeed.
And then I will use my bonus action to command him to bite, and we will gain advantage on it because of pack tactics.
Indeed, I saw
Very
that when I
nice.
made the sheet, and I'm
Pack
so
tactics.
there's a high chance I remember that ability. That misses. He bites it like a giant stick, and it does nothing to the wood underneath. it just doesn't beat the AC.
Oh,
Alex, you already
his
got
thing's
rid of
just bishop
flanking.
on it.
Now you're going to get rid of tactics too?
Only on a friendly creature. Of course, wolves are going to still have it.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
God.
What are you doing, Maximus?
Open the door.
All right, yep, you open up the giant barn door. Clearly, this must have been the way the creature got in, because it is huge, and it takes your full action to, like, push it open from your saddle, but you see the creature in its full immensity.
How kind of it to close the door behind
Of
itself.
course, very kind. Being delayed.
Yeah, okay, and in I go!
Yep, you ride forward. The cart is considered difficult terrain, so you may... I don't know if it matters, though, just because you're not that far away.
There. Not there. There.
Okay.
I'm specifically choosing there.
Okay, there, specifically...
I use a lance, so it's
Okay,
a reach weapon.
yeah. Alright, you charge in, and, yeah, that's your turn. Zednius.
Yeah.
Zednius will fly in, and then up,
Okay.
and then fire Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. Does a 15 hit?
No.
Then both of these miss.
Yep, they both splash against the thick wood. And you realize the Deadwood is famous for a couple of things. Necromancers, the Galentine Wars. It's also famous for the titular dead wood, which comes out of those woods, which are as hard as iron and used to make hulls all across the world. This is a deadwood tree, so it's going to be exceedingly difficult to pierce its outer, bark. Renesmee.
At least right
Diplomacy is
now,
over.
a minimum of 17 to hit it.
Well,
it
minimum
will
of
more.
16, because ties lose.
Oh, ties lose? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought they won.
Wait, how would I tell on my character sheet whether or not it's even likely that I would hit it?
So next to an attack, it'll say the plus, so the additional plus you have on top of it. So let's just look at one of your attacks, for instance. Character sheet.
Yeah,
Thorn
do you have
Whip. So
any
you have a plus
Thorn
6
Whip?
to hit. You have a plus 6 to hit for Thorn Whip. The average is a 10. So let's say its AC was 16. You'd have a 50% chance to hit. Well, 45% chance to hit and a 55% chance to miss. So just take 10 plus your attack mod. That's like what you would roll on average. But
Hey,
Is that good
Either
or
way, we
bad?
don't really have an...
I don't know
It's not
what's an
great,
easier way to explain
but-
that. Basically, maybe you won't hit, but no matter what, there is a chance that you do hit. So there's
Yeah, and we don't really have anything else we can do against it right now, so
Yeah.
it's worth a
Yeah.
try.
unless you have other ideas. Okay, so yeah, you need to move in within 10 feet of the creature. So where do you want to move to Thorn Whip it?
I
You
will
didn't
move-
take like
oops.
Moonlight, right?
No, I don't think so. No.
Or Moonbeam, something that's like AOE like that.
All right. Yep. You move in 30 feet and you swing a Thorn Whip at the creature. It wraps around one of the branches and you try to pull it back to rake into the bark, but it does not pierce its outer bark. And the Treant Axe. You're also close to it now. It feels so popular. And it is now going to do Summon Plants. It extends its arm and points towards a 20-foot by 20 section of the barn. From that earth rises tons of small, like grasses and things like that, which will pull and tug and slice anything that passes over them. And you'll take 1 damage for if you move at all. Like automatically, you move 5 feet, you take 1 damage.
Where is this terrain?
I am still measuring it out, but I think it's going to be just in a square directly in front of it.
Lars will yell at it saying, "Good thing I'm not going anywhere."
True. All right, so yeah, it's going to be in a box right in front of it. Most likely, also would kill those people. Sadka.
Yeah, that does seem correct.
That is
Considering
that
what
20 feet by
commoners,
20 feet? That is okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
commoners have 4 health, right?
Yeah, so you take 4 steps, dead.
Isn't that 25
even
by 20?
20
Is
feet.
it? Am I dumb? It is. I am dumb.
Yes, it is.
I was gonna say it looks like wrong shaped. It's not the square. All right. So that
There
was
you go.
that action. Then it's also going to do a slam attack. This one is going to be against. Who has heard it so far? No one. So it's gonna just swing it towards Maximus because he's the biggest target. A 21. Holy.
Is that really bad?
That's a high number. So yes, it's a high chance to hit.
Yeah.
What's your AC, Ethan?
Tank!
You're
21.
21? Holy shit. So yeah, the Treant swings a massive arm and it slams against Maximus's shield as he holds his ground. Fargrim.
So it doesn't hit?
It does not hit him, no, because
Nah,
AC is
Oh,
higher.
didn't get to that. It didn't hit
All
me.
right, Fargrim.
Am I able to go over?
Oh
this?
god,
Yeah,
you rolled an
you can-
11 and got a 21.
You would take 1 damage automatically, but yes, you can leap over the boundary and like It'll cost you 10 feet of movement, but yes, you can do it.
No, but I lose my cover, right?
You would lose your cover, but you also can't attack it right now, so if you want to attack it, you'll have to leave cover.
Yeah, but if I wanted to do branding smite, I'd have to wait a turn, right?
Nope. You can hop over the boundary, bonus action, so hop over the boundary, movement. Bonus action, branding smite, action,
You could
attack the
also
creature.
a regular smite would probably
Divine
do.
smite, yeah.
Yeah, divine smite might do more damage than a brand.
I don't have that.
It's not in your spells. It's in your
Features,
features and traits on the core.
On the first page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah, it is a bit annoying. It's this one. I just opened it up. Divine Smite. When you attack
It's like
a creature,
2d8 or something.
Yeah, so after you hit the creature, you can choose to put the smite on it. So you don't, if you want to go that route, you just make 2 attacks against it, and afterward you can determine if you want to use your spell slots on a smite. Whereas for other smites, you have to cast it beforehand.
I'm gonna trust the people who have more experience than me, so
Okay.
I'll hop.
All right, you take 1 damage automatically as the sharp grasses underfoot slice at your feet. So
Is
instantly
that
subtract.
close enough?
You are
to
close
attack?
enough to melee, but yeah, you also lose 1 health instantly. So your current hit points reduce that to 42.
So then I'll use the divine smite and attack it.
Yeah, so the way Divine Smite would work is you make 2 attacks with your whatever weapon you're using, and then afterward you can apply the Divine Smite if you know whether you've hit or not.
I guess my mithril greatsword, right?
Yep, that's your best weapon, so yeah, 2 attacks with that, because you have extra attack from being level 5.
What do I roll? How do
Just
I roll
click
for
the
that?
text Mithril Greatsword twice in your chat, in like the attack section. It says attacks and spell casting near the top. It says Mithril Greatsword, and then it cuts off.
I see the item name.
Yeah, but it's at the, so above that in the
okay.
attack. Yeah, there you go.
There
Boom,
you
boom, boom. All right, first one misses. It slices into the bark, but not to the pulpy flesh underneath. Second one, however, first attack to hit of the whole fight. It pierces through the bark, striking the pulpy flesh underneath. And since that hits, you can choose to apply Divine Smite to it now that you know you've hit.
Yeah.
So you click the name of the Mithril Greatsword of the hit, so like on the chat there?
In
Click
the,
name of
in the
Mithril
chat box,
Greatsword,
you
not how
click
you
the
do the damage.
word Mithril Greatsword. There you go. 8 slashing damage, and now you can expend a level 1 spell slot to do an additional 2d8, or a level 2 spell slot to do 3d8.
What do you guys think? I have no idea what the difference is.
Just
I
the
don't
amount
know
of damage you deal.
It'll be more damage if you
Yeah.
use a second spell slot, but you don't have as many of those.
You only have 2, so you can do that 2 times.
Per week or? is that
Yeah,
just in
per week.
total?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure, why not? Let's use the second.
So 3d8.
Okay, great. So you subtract one of those. So you see where it says 2, and then there's like a number that can move beside it. It says 2 as well. Oh, whoops. Yeah, if you go back to spells, you want to reduce your level 2 spell slots to 1.
Nice deception roll there, Alex.
Thank you. It's trying to trick us. Yeah, it's true.
It rolled low.
It's this one, being the one that I just moved down to a 1.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
thank
Okay,
you.
yeah. Now that, so yeah, you know where to do that for the future. So now go into the chat and manually, because unfortunately there's not an easy way to do it, you just manually do 3d8 for the additional radiant damage on top of your attack.
Sure.
So it'll
You
do
could always
8 slap. Woo, sheesh. All right, so it does 8 damage. That's default. That's just you slicing into the pulp of the creature. Then, the divine power of Kuravash guides your blade, and you cut deeper into the flesh, dealing radiant damage. The creature takes 24 damage and lets out another shrieking groan, which fills the barn. Lars.
I have a question about exhaustion. Do those go away at a long rest or a short rest?
I think short rest, but I will double check that because that is a great question.
Please tell me. Yeah, it's very important. Because if it's short rest, that's great. If it's long rest, that's not good.
Exhaustion.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Paige?
It's called a shadowed treant.
A shadowed grove treant, yes.
So the shadowed mean that it's kind of like got some
Nope.
evil looking.
Not at all.
Probably just the reference to it being Darkwood.
Yep.
But I don't know.
It happens. So during a long rest, you remove everything. During a short rest, you reduce it by 1.
Okay, I will use this as my bonus action then.
Sheesh. You're like a barbarian, dude. What the heck?
It's true.
Just side question.
then-
Do you see its health?
Not as good.
No, we
No,
cannot.
you should not see its health. The current token in the top right, you see that like cracked thing? That means that it's bloodied, which means it's below half of its max HP.
Yeah, that thing right there.
Yeah, and that happened before you guys fought it, so it was already pretty injured.
Okay.
Then I will go ahead and use Just my extra attack onto brass knuckles attacks.
Okay. Sheesh. First one hits, second one misses.
Really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so first attack. Now, question. These are not magical, right?
They are magical because of the claw.
Ah, there it is. Okay, so as you punch, the tattoo of the Eldritch Claw flares up on your arm, piercing through the bark of the creature, just shattering a whole section of it, and the creature takes 10 bludgeoning damage. Okay. Maximus. Oh, sorry. Is Gore doing anything, or can you not?
He cannot, since I use my bonus action for dig deep.
Okay. Maximus.
Stab.
Stab.
Yeah.
You do have guidance active on you, by the way, Dota, if you want to use it for any ability checks in the future.
Does it account for attacks as well?
No. Only ability checks,
Okay.
is my understanding.
Okay,
Alright,
okay.
first one misses. Second one strikes into the creature's large, trunky core.
Nice. Felt like I had something. No, I guess not. Okay. Bam.
And it is resistant because that is a non-magical attack, so it only takes 4 damage.
Yeah, most definitely. And then I am going to mark it with Unwavering Mark.
Put it in chat.
What's that do?
It's kind of long.
Jeez, that's really long. When you hit it, has advantage on any attack roll that doesn't target you. Holy shit! So it has to target you. You pissed it off so much.
I'm not within 5 feet of it.
Oh, okay. So it does.
do
Okay,
that.
so what does this do for you then?
If a mark value deals damage to any other one, then
If it
you...
deals damage to anyone else, I can then make a special bonus,
Oh, so you're
action, like a bonus attack
as
against
a
it.
bonus action on your turn, you get another attack. Okay, cool. So you're like a
you have
threat
reach for
tank.
that?
That's pretty cool. He does have
Wait,
reach
do you
for
have
that. Lance
Okay,
has
okay,
reach.
cool.
Okay, neat. Zednius.
Get a little higher up in the air.
Yep, you're as high as you can be.
and-
25 feet.
Cool. Double Eldritch.
Double Eldritch. First one strikes against the wood, does nothing. Second one,
You're
cracks
I
and
had
pieces.
some about that. Your Eldritch Blast. Why does it have +5 to the damage?
I have Agonizing Blast, so I add my Charisma modifier.
Okie dokie.
Huge. Renesmee,
Yeah.
what you doing?
Is it possible to speak to it and like do a
No,
whippy thing?
you
Not
can't do it
really.
in your action.
No, because talking takes
I-
like 6 seconds, basically.
I'd
you
say
wanna-
you just give up on that.
Yeah, no, I
didn't respond
have
well.
given up on that. I just feel bad for it, and as a druid, I have made a pact to protect forest creatures, and it doesn't necessarily seem evil, but at this point, it's trying to kill my friends. So...
I mean, it
well,
definitely
not
might have killed the
friends.
entire town, so evil is up
Yeah.
to interpretation.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly.
Most deaf.
Is Thorn Whip considered a magical attack?
What?
Yes.
Thorn Whip?
it's
Yes.
Thorn Whip,
So yeah,
yes.
yeah, the Thorn Whip spell is magical, yes.
It's a spell.
Yeah, all spells are magical
This is-
attacks.
Does not.
That does not hit, though. It swings towards the creature and fails to
Sad.
rend and do any damage.
So it has a minimum AC of possibly 18, is what we know
the
so far.
creature is going to slam into
The dog.
Don't do it.
Maximus, because it has a 10-foot reach on its attack.
Yeah, it's
So it's going to swing towards Maximus, 22. I think that just about goes above
Yeah.
your AC.
yeah, that
And
does it.
it punches you in the chest for... That is a horrible damage roll. That is... You're
God.
so lucky. Holy shit. Yeah, it punches you. You sort of totter on your steed. And Maximus is now bloodied as he gets punched in the chest by the treant.
Technically, I'm not bloodied, actually.
Oh, okay. And then the treant is going to use its second action to... Or sorry, it has a multi-attack, which before it used to summon plants, now it's going to use it to debris toss towards Zednius. A 28, which
That will
strikes you
definitely
for
hit.
29
Holy
bludgeoning
fucking
damage.
shit.
4d10 damage.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a lot of damage.
So that's what is that? 15 minus. So I take 14 real hit
Why?
because I had
Was the
15
armor-
temporary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, forgot about that.
And did that make contact or did it throw something?
It threw something at you. It
Threw
threw a
something?
large
Okay.
clod of earth at your face, which hit you.
Okay.
I'm going to use my little special
That's a bonus
unwavering
action
mark.
on your turn.
Oh yeah. So
So on your turn, remember to do that.
Yep.
All right, Fargrim. The creature's largely ignored you. Do you take that as a slight to your pride?
I do, but I'm a tactician at the end of the day.
Yes.
So,
Indubitably. Fancy.
so I want to try and go behind it if I can?
You can,
go through the
however,
stalls?
you will not be getting flanking on a creature this large. It's just attention. Normally, flanking applies to small creatures where they can't guard all their flanks. This thing is so huge that, like,
We're using flanking?
we are using flanking.
Oh shit!
Yeah, for
But
huge or larger creatures, it doesn't apply.
Well, it's mainly so that way it just doesn't use an AoE thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's totally fine. So let's talk about
You don't get to make
opportunity
it
attacks
like
real quick.
here.
If you leave the reach of a creature's attack, it can make an attack against you. But if you do what Fargrim's doing, which is like pivoting on the axis of the creature, it can't make attacks against you. It's only when you walked 10 feet away from it that it would get the opportunity to attack you. So
Oh,
just
this one's 10 feet?
this one has 10-foot range, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying that if we're like on the creature, it can't attack
For me
us?
right now, if I moved away, I'd take an opportunity attack.
Yeah, if you got 10 feet, yeah, if you walk 10 feet away from the creature, it'd be able to attack him. But yeah, Fargrim, where do you want to move to? You have 25
So
feet of
you
movement, and each one of these, climbing over each one of these, like, posts costs 10 feet of movement.
Okay, so I'll probably... What is that? Probably move over here. Can I do
Okay,
that?
yeah, you climb the post and move into the next horse stall, axe in hand. Or whatever, greatsword in hand.
And I get 2 attacks, right? With
You do get 2 attacks.
I'll swing twice with the greatsword.
Okay.
Click.
First one misses, second one hits as you cut into the bark of the creature.
And I don't have an opportunity to use any spell.
You do on
I?
your second one, because it hits. So you can, since it hit, you roll damage for it, and you can apply Divine Smite if you'd like.
What do you guys think? I'll defer to the experts. Should I save it?
Make your
or
own
do you-
decision, damn it.
Okay. You know what? Spam
your stealth
abilities. Spam abilities.
Okay, great. Then
Okay.
roll. So click on the text of the 23 to roll damage for it. And now, if you'd like to use Divine Smite again at second level, you're going to roll 3d8 and go to the spell sheet and remove your last second level spell slot. Okay. Jesus, he's a fucking monster. God damn.
Now I'm at 0. Okay. So I
Okay,
have
yeah.
4
So yeah,
remaining.
you swing another empowered blow from Kuravash strikes into the side of the creature. This sound like a bell ringing fills the entire barn as this blade sinks deep into the pulpy flesh of the tree and it bellows in agony. Lars.
I'd love to use haymakers, but I can't with AC this big, so I will just the ability for it. Well, unarmed attacks are the same as me using my brass knuckles, correct?
Unarmed attacks are the same as me using my brass knuckles. Yes.
Okay, so then I'm going to do my extra attacks first,
Sheesh! What the fuck?
and then I'm going to use the old 1 and 2 to spend a moxie point and take 2 more of those.
Okay, holy fuck, dude. Those
Wow.
are some really good
Yeah.
rolls. That's a 19 and 18.
Oh my god!
What the
Whoa.
fuck? Those all hit. And they're all magical because the claw. So yeah, the claw tattoos are literally like they're glowing so bright that they shine through your clothing as your fists make contact. It's the only reason you're able to actually dent this creature, but you're cracking vast sections of bark, and that's a lot of damage. This whole lattice network, basically the entire right arm of the creature is now degloved, like the bark has cracked and shattered off from you just punching them incessantly. Jesus. Maximus.
That was my bonus action, so I will just go ahead and move him to just kind of split him off from us for AoE stuff.
Takes 2 damage, right?
Okay, it takes 2 damage.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll subtract it. Wait. Can
Okay,
I?
so let's
you should be able
first.
to. Yeah, -2 on the token.
Oh,
Yeah, use
gotcha.
the token to track the life, not the sheep.
Okay, I'm gonna
Maximus.
first move like that.
Okay, you take
Oh.
1 damage, and your horse does as well.
Doesn't just my horse?
Nope, both of you. Oh, actually,
Oh.
no, you're right. You don't have feet on the ground. It wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it's just your horse.
No. Yeah.
No, you're right. You do be right, though.
Okie dokie. That's fine. I can live with that.
Yep. And now the creature
okay.
gets disadvantage if it targets anyone other than you.
Oh fuck! Wait, there was a reason I wasn't doing that. Never mind. I don't do that.
Okay,
That's great.
rewind. we draw
about
back the tape.
I forgot about that. I remembered the reason I wasn't doing that. This first one is my normal attack.
Okay.
Just my action attack.
Yep, your lance comes striking towards it. Second one and first one hit.
Nice.
Okay, as you do that, as you do 2 quick
damage.
jabs towards the core of the creature, this actually triggers one of its actions, one of its reactions specifically. which is when the treant reaches 10 HP or lower, he yells out in treant, a long, somber cry. All creatures within 10 feet of the treant must make a strength saving throw of DC 18 or take 3d6
Holy shit.
plus 6 bludgeoning damage as the treant slams the ground around him. So that's going to be the dog, Lars, Fargrim,
no.
Mickey, and no one else. Those 4 creatures. So first, so we have Lars' strength save. Now we need the dog's strength save. We need Fargrim's
+2.
+2,
Just
yeah.
it.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
no.
the strength save. We need one for Mickey, which you can just do a normal riding horse strength save.
Is
And
that
then we
just
need-
a D20?
Yeah, it's just, I think it is.
I don't know what that is.
I'll double check the riding horse. And then while we're waiting for that, Fargrim, on the left-hand side of your sheet, there's something called a strength save, and you make that.
It should be a
Um,
+3.
D20 +3, yeah, for your horse. Ethan.
This?
Oh, D20 +3?
Yep.
Shit, okay. That's not
Last
bad.
chance for someone to pass it. So far, everyone has failed.
Oh,
Alright.
no.
I'm gonna
You're
do my
all
horse.
right.
I'm gonna do my horse
I will-
first.
I will take half
Wait,
damage
hold on.
though.
Let me.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
Are you
Let me-
resistant?
We're waiting for
see
the
something.
D20
I am.
+3.
Damn it, that's only a dexterity save.
Sag, good.
From that Yogi. I
From
considered
what?
earlier. I posted in chat.
Yes, that,
Alright.
that does work. Okay, everyone
my
takes
horse
a
failed.
total of, this could be
okay.
as little as
Ooh,
9 damage
resistance
or a
and
lot
budget
higher.
Oh fuck, I
Oh,
passed.
damn.
I failed
Damage.
too.
You don't actually take damage because you're not within 10 feet of the creature, only your horses. Actually, no, you have to be within 10 feet because you did a lance attack, so you also take
Yeah,
damage.
it's
Okay,
it's
so
all.
everyone except for Lars himself takes 14 damage. So, Fargrim, you take 14 damage, so reduce 14 from your current HP. You can do it on your token. Yeah, you did. You did. Good job. And then, Ethan, you are so low on HP. Holy shit. Holy shit.
attacking me.
What's his character
And-
name?
His character name is Maximus.
Hit me
Maximus
too,
is,
Max.
Maximus is
Hit
uber
Fargrim
bloody
once.
at the moment.
Although I am not done with my turn yet.
True. Yeah, that was just your first attack, and then
Yes, I have my nifty little bonus action, which I can use to take another attack. This has advantage, because
Sorry.
of the way that ability works.
yep, it had other stuff. Yeah.
Bam, bam. So
Miss,
22 and a
miss.
17. Okay, and
Oh,
this
sorry, no, sorry.
22
It's advantage. So the
Advantage,
22 hits. Yeah. Forgot.
Yes. So this will do a little bit of extra damage. I have to just check and see if that's all it does.
Also,
Yeah,
picture
this just does a
punch
little bit of extra damage. There's no way this does
You only
20
need to
damage.
do 10
unfortunately.
at most.
No, I need to do 20. This isn't magical.
Oh.
Yeah. Fuck! I just rolled another lance attack. You know what that'll do? That
You
was
stab
the
into
worst it could possibly be.
You stab towards the core of the creature, going this time for its heart. You see the this like beating sort of wooden, glowing blue thing in the center of the tree cavity. You try to pierce it through, but you miss it just by a slight amount, so the tree still stands. Zednius.
I'm also gonna mark it again.
Okay. Zednius.
I am going to Eldritch Blast 2 times.
Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Ugh.
First one hits, and what fires from your fingertips is not the traditional lightning bolt. It is an inky black tendril which flies out towards the creature, wraps around its teal heart, and you see it compress. And by the time the inky blackness fades away, there is an empty cavity in the chest of the creature. It shudders one last time, this long, mournful sound, and then it stops moving.
We did it.
And the barn is
Nice.
quiet.
Does the
Renesmee runs over to Maximus and
You're
casts
still in.
Cure.
Is it still?
No, that's it's gone
Difficult.
because it died.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I cast Cure Wounds. How do I do that?
You go to the spell section and you click the text that says Cure Wounds.
Okay. Like that?
Nothing showed up in
Not
chat,
quite.
so I'm gonna go with no. There it is. That
There
yes,
you
like
go.
that. So that's
And
one
then you
first
mark
level
that you
spell
used
slot.
the spell.
How do I do the takey away
If you
spell
see
slot
where
it?
it says slots remaining, there should be an arrow up and down under it, next to the 1 or 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Okay, I brought it down. I had 4 slots. Now I have 3 slots.
I think you should have 2 because you used Thorn Whip earlier.
Thorn Whip is a cantrip.
No, Thorn Whip's cantrip. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Neat.
Okay. Do you fly down to the ground, Zednius, as your armor of Agathis ends? All right. So you descend to the floor of the barn.
Does it end when I lose my temp HP, or does it end
It ends
when
when
I?
you lose your temp HP. Yeah.
Okay, then it was gone when I got blasted.
Okay. So yeah, you guys drop to the ground. Fargrim, you pull your greatsword out of the creature. It's covered in just like slimy, what do you call that? It's sap. It's covered in sap. No, yeah, it's sap is what you call it when it's a tree. You pull it out and sort of wipe it off against the ground, but that's going to cling to it for a bit. You're going to need to give your sword a real cleaning after this. And Gorge sort of naturally goes over to Lars and sits down on the ground next to him.
We should go in case it's whatever it was calling arrives.
Yep.
Well, should we burn it?
I think so, if we can.
All right, I'll. Y'all ready to leave? Because once I throw this torch at that straw, this place is gonna go up fast.
Let me get the fuck out of here first.
A good idea.
Yeah, Fargrim picks his way over the corpse
A
of
wise
the tree.
a
and
wise
exits the
move.
barn.
Farmer grunts and just
Yeah,
moves.
I will. I'll toss just a torch onto that straw right there.
Yeah, without the treant there to actively suppress your efforts to set the barn on fire, instantly fire appears and begins to expand.
I'm gonna
you right out the front door. You leave the burning barn behind. Some of your steeds are sort of hanging off maybe 100 feet away, but the barn rapidly begins to burn.
Should we loot the building for money?
It's a little late.
The barns we can't, but everywhere else we
No,
can.
not the barns, but the
Everywhere
barn
else we
was
can,
out of the way. Yeah, I feel like we should loot it before we leave and send back word.
Yes, the money that is still definitely there.
Are we
There
assuming
was.
that the tree was the only thing that we wanted to fight, or
As you
did we
guys
still
are
want to check
talking,
the deadwood?
and the fire rises from the barn, you see a flock of about 40 birds rise up from the trees of the deadwood, scattering in all directions.
Oh my god.
Time to go. Get your horses. Let's get out of here.
We're gonna
What
get
does
out
that
of here.
mean? What do you mean?
There could
There's
be like
something-
a huge creature moving.
Disturbing the trees or the birds, more like, and we should leave now.
Oh, okay. Are we able to get our horses back easily?
Yeah, now that the threat's dealt with, they won't fight for you to mount.
All right.
Okay, you guys,
Let's
where are you
mount 'em.
going? Are you going straight to Fort Romulus? Are you remaining in the village a little bit longer?
Well, we're afraid that something's going to come from the village, right?
No.
Or something's going to come from the
Forest.
deadwood. Something's coming
But
from
if
the
we're-
deadwood after us. Is what
But
we're
if we're nearby, I don't think we should be here.
Let's go, Fort Romulus. Yeah, I don't want to be here whenever that thing arrives.
Okay, so you guys instantly, having arrived here maybe 20, 30 minutes ago, begin to ride out of the village. Are we keeping the same marching order as before with Fargrim taking up the rear?
Sure.
Okay, so
Oh yeah.
as you guys ride
sounds
away pretty aggressively from Pomdara, leaving it in the rift, Fargrim, you look behind, and once you guys are reaching a large hill in this very hilly region, you're just about to leave Pandara behind, and you see the shape of four about 20 foot tall trees exit the deadwood and begin to march towards Pomdara. They move very slowly, so you guys could have probably been there a couple more minutes and been fine, but you sort of stop on one of the hills and get a final
Are
glance.
those smaller than the one we
They're
just fought?
larger.
Larger? Okay,
Oh,
good.
As you
Because
see
we
four additional trees
And they wouldn't have
marching
been
on
bloodied.
Pomdara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Fargrim, you can catch back up with the others, and do you tell them that you saw this behind them, or do you just grunt?
I'll tell him. I'll tell
Okay.
him.
Well, I'd like to hear Fargrim speak because this is like the second time he's ever talked.
Okay.
So you catch up to Renesmee, who was the one that was just in front of you in the column.
Renesmee, I saw some really big trees. I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm
No,
fuck.
it's fine. No, it's fine. You saw some
Go
really
for
big
it.
trees. That's totally
Common's a
accurate.
second language.
Yeah, true. Common is a second language. It's ESL, dude, or CSL.
Really big trees.
Based.
How big?
Based.
Huge.
Larger than the one we just fought?
Definitely.
Renesmee. Well, did the other people hear our conversation?
Yeah, 100%.
How many of them?
Were they headed this way?
Looked like it.
We need to warn the neighboring villages that, what are they called? That the Ents are here, and I'm sure they're not happy that we just killed one of them.
I think they were
Probably
responding to the call for help. I don't think they're coming after us. Besides, Ents are famously slow.
Still, we don't want to
Good
stick around this
prepare.
area with whatever may be mad at us for burning a part of the forest.
No, we don't.
Should
So,
prepare at least.
Well, we know what happened to the town, and we dealt with the main issue. And we know that there are more Ents.
Should probably suggest that another town isn't built there.
Yeah,
I
maybe
agree.
unless they come with a strong force. It
Mm,
depends on how valuable they think the town is.
Well,
We
I
can't.
don't think-
suppose that's true.
I don't think they'll just cede ground to the Deadwood all the time.
No,
right?
but they could move the town a bit over and not have it right next to the Deadwood Forest.
you continue to ride along the wood's edge. The Deadwood sort of shadowing you to the right as you approach Fort Romulus. Anytime any of you look at it, really, you get this tingle running down your spine of being watched, though you see nothing inside the woods itself. Soon enough, though, Fort Romulus comes into view. Rising up from the hilly terrain, first you see a watchtower, then another, and you find a fort bracketed on all four of its corners by a large watchtower. Built in a prominent position, Fort Romulus has vision of nearly a mile all around it in a suppressed valley. The sightlines are largely uninterrupted, with nothing more than scrub grass existing in the surrounding valley, all the way up to the edge of the Deadwood itself. Probably has been cleared, as you can see a couple of stumps of trees, massive dead wood trees that had been chopped away to make this vast open area around the fort itself. The fort is otherwise simple in its construction. There's a moat without water surrounding a square complex of about 10 buildings. There is a smithy, clearly, because smoke rises up from its chimneys and great bellows are worked. You can see a central keep made of stone, but only this keep and the walls are made of stone. The other 8 or so buildings within the central complex all seem to be barracks. And for the centurions, aka those who have served in the Legion, this immediately sets off a lot of red flags. This is they called this the nerve center of the Southern Legions. There should have been scouts that spotted you probably like close to Pomdara. Like, you should have been shadowed by legionary scouts almost this entire time, and yet even just looking down at the fort now, there's a skeleton crew on duty at the moment. There's maybe 4 guys guarding one of the main gates. There's no people on patrol around the fort itself. This is either incredibly undermanned or they've laxed on like all measures regarding defense. So
There's either they're lazy, incompetent, or something very, very bad has happened.
Can
Looks
we?
like they needed me.
You know, I've never wished that the guardsmen, that the legionaries be lazy or incompetent, but I find myself wishing that now.
So, who leads the approach to Fort Romulus?
We can go in the same marching order. I don't
Okay,
mind.
sure. You guys approach, and once you've sort of made it halfway through the valley, a very belated greeting party comes out of the fort, consisting of 4 horsemen. They ride through the valley, and now that you guys are in this valley proper, you can see that this has definitely been cleared out deadwood. There are bits of scrub grass which have no leaves on them, a sort of typical thing to find in the deadwood. This has essentially a whole valley probably been carved out of the woods. And as the 4 horsemen get closer, one of them says, "Halt and identify yourself."
Do we
5
have, like, the
Imperial
scroll?
judges.
We've got you've got the paper, right?
Yep.
They may request.
Yeah, I do, yeah. 5 Imperial judges.
What's your duty?
Oh god, what was it was very ambiguous, the words he used, right?
Yes.
Yes, he said, "Bring peace to Reginova and
Atlia.
Transatlia. Eliminate any foes of the Empire outside of the Deadwood, and do not venture into the Deadwood itself without the express permission of Consul Marcellus Bologna."
Bringing peace to the area and killing the Empire's foes.
Ah, well, that's your loss. Either way, come along. And the the soldier, guides you guys to the fort. As you come closer, you can see a couple of men coming out. They look hungry. The men look slightly malnourished. You can see their cheeks are a little bit sunken inward. And about 30 or so gather at the entrance as your little caravan of 5 judges enters into the complex. The gates of the fort open. You can see several sally ports now that you're on the inside, so additional smaller entrances to the fort. And one of the man who brought you here, he pauses and says, "You'll have to wait here for the Consul Militum."
So be it.
And the man leaves. The average legionnaire is gathered around in a sort of semicircle, preventing you from getting deeper into the fort. They look at you with a mixture of hope and suspiciousness. They don't seem to fully trust you. Many of them have their hands like sort of resting on their spears or on their gladiuses. And you guys wait here for maybe a minute. This tense standoff, though why it's tense, I don't think you would really understand. You've shown your credentials. You are sent here by the Emperor himself. But you see a man exit the central keep, the stone central keep of the fort. He walks with authority, and he has a purple cloak around his shoulders, denoting his status as at least someone high-ranking in the Empire. And as he draws closer to all of you, he gives a wave. The crowd parts, and he looks towards each of you individually. "So, the Emperor actually fulfilled my request for once."
I suppose he did.
"Well, it's a pleasure to meet you then. Care to introduce yourselves?"
Maximus Titus Gaius Bologna.
Yeah, leave the titles behind.
Maximus will do fine.
Good. You seem like a fighting man. Which legion?
7th.
Good men. The rest of you?
Indeed.
Renesmee introduces herself.
I'll
My name is-
extend it.
Renesmee de Thaljo.
As I said, keep it simple. I don't have all the time in the world. Renesmee it is. Next one.
I'll reach out a mage hand
He
to wave
swats it aside.
and say, I didn't go to shake his hand.
Oh, okay.
And I'll say, I'm Zednarius.
Zednarius. Wow, wonderful. All right, who do we got next?
Lars. That's all he'll say.
Good. And you, Dwarf.
You should know your superiors, boy.
Superior.
I've fought in battles far worse than what we just faced, and your men are malnourished. You are a disgrace.
That's an awfully powerful opinion for someone who's heard none of the details of our circumstances. I respect it. All right, well, since if you're the judges that they sent, we'll be working together for quite some time. I suppose I should introduce you to my staff. He steps to the side and points towards 3 men. This here is my second in command, Titius Perusian, one of the many nephews of the Emperor, aren't you, pal? And the man he pointed towards is maybe 22, very young for this position, incredibly so. He has a bit of a baby face to him, his uniform is ill-fitting, he has like all these medals plastered across his chest, though at least the former legionnaires recognize these are things for like immense bravery and gallantry, which there's no way that this young man earned. Just not possible.
Sat here looking like a North Korean general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then he says, "This is my tribunus, Agrippa Ignia. He's actually been sent rather recently, just like you here. He is our direct delegate to the Emperor himself, aren't you?" And the man he points towards is this tall, gaunt man of a very grim complexion, and he gives you all a nod. And then finally, we have my friend, Primus Pilus Cracus Lec Matani. He's from out on the plains. Well, he's a good soldier. That's all that matters. Either way, let's get you into the briefing room. We have some things to discuss, I imagine. And you mentioned a fight. I'd like to hear about that.
Of course.
All right.
Shall we?
Yeah, then take care of their horses. We'll bring them on in. And after their Consul Militum sort of signs off on you guys, the whole atmosphere changes from one of suspiciousness to a lot more calm. And your horses are led to a stable, just a sort of it's an outdoor one, nothing very fancy. And he guides you guys towards the central stone keep. All that's with you guys are his staff, the 5 of you, and him himself. And as you walk through the courtyard, he sort of walks in pace, largely referring to Maximus and Fargrim as he speaks. "Well, as you can tell, they are malnourished. It's not really something I could control. You see, how do I put this? The Emperor doesn't care about the Southern Legions anymore. I mean, he cares enough to send you, but he doesn't care enough to send me the rest of my legions. The rest of them are out on the plains, battling degenerates and profligates out there.
Yes.
So, You know, I'd prefer a food shipment or a couple of other soldiers to the lot of you, but you'll have to do, and you'll be spread thin. There's a lot of duties I have for each of you. Either way, you tell me about this battle that, well, for the lot of you. Tell me about this battle you fought. I'd like to hear from the dwarf.
How about it?
Okay. It was with a treant.
Where?
What was the town called?
No, what was the town called?
I didn't write it down.
Was it Regianova?
That's
No.
the provincial region you guys are in.
That's the region.
Pomdara.
Palmdara, inside one of the barns nearby.
The town went silent a couple of weeks ago. You investigated it?
We did.
What's the state of the garrison there? Those were valuable men.
Completely destroyed.
No survivors?
Not a one, and I don't think you or your men would fare better.
We would. Well, that's unfortunate. And he looks over and says, Prefect, go mark that off the list. What does that bring us down to now? And the prefect thinks for a few long moments and says, I think that's the 4th garrison this month. And
Jesus.
Consul Militum
What's
nods.
a garrison?
Garrison is a small number of troops set to guard a specific location.
Got it.
The Consul Militum nods and says, yeah, well. Alright, so, and you guys have now entered into the Stone Keep. He's leading you through this labyrinth of corridors, past armories, past what looks to be almost a wizard's study, and up into a war room, which has a large table depicting the Deadwood frontier. And as he enters into this room, he leans against the war table, and this frontier is marked. The distances, 170 miles of pastoral hills and villages from which the enemy could attack along any point. The stress of his task is visible on the face of the consul. He speaks slowly. I'm glad you've been sent here to relieve me. As I said before, most of my men are out in the plains. I've been left 3 centuries, 900 men for you non-legionnaires, to guard the entire frontier. That leaves a couple dozen men for every mile, almost nothing. During my cousin's time as the Consul Militum, he had 10 times that number to guard the same frontier. That was just a couple years ago, and it's not as if our enemies have gotten any weaker. Now, I got a lot of other duties to attend to, several forts to manage, supplies to squeeze out of the local population if we're going to even survive the winter. So I'll make this brief. My men can't see many of the problems for the interior villages. The best we can do is try to fight raiding parties on the very frontier, and largely we only have power around the forts themselves. That's why Pomdara was... well, it's not like we could do anything. We have no cavalry. We're limited to a very small number that I've personally purchased for the legions. So, most of the problems you'll be dealing with are things in the interior. The first task is going to be the village of Stipes, along the Maggiore River. The report was delivered by one of legionnaire in my 1st century. It was a poor report. All he said is that the village is being raided, though by what or the frequency or anything, he was of very little use. Maybe he's recovered, and I can get another statement for him, but he's over at Fort Trajan, so it'd be a bit out of the way to speak with him again. And there are some other issues we'll speak of once that task is complete. There's monsters in the Atlian foothills, a lawsuit between Tredosia and Corsicola. What else is there? And one of his men walks up and says, Consul Militum, there was the matter of the ambush supply wagon. He says, yes, of course, how could I forget? Our food shipment to here at Fort Romulus was ambushed on its way from Ravinium to here. I mean, we haven't gotten a chance to actually investigate the scene. As you can tell, we're a bit overstretched, all things considered. But once you're done with your task in Stipes, if you could make your way over there, that'd be good. Now, is there any questions? Is there anything you need from me?
What was the contact's name at Fort Trajan?
Fort Trajan is just some standard legionnaire. If you speak with the commanding officer there, he can put you in contact with him.
Okay.
Should let you know about the treants, the other ones that we saw.
The other ones? How many?
What was it? 3?
4.
4?
4.
4?
4
Larger than
treants.
the one that we fought.
How large was the one that you fought?
About
15 feet, maybe.
Oh, that's a baby. All right, well, that'll be fine. A couple of villages may get destroyed. Nothing we can do.
Real quick, Harkon, what does level 1 of exhaustion do for me?
I think just go look it up. I don't remember.
It's like
Exhaustion
disadvantage on
rules.
ability checks.
You can add an exhaustion tracker
Oh, I'll do that right now. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
to your
Oh, I was
sheet.
just-
And
I was,
it'll-
yeah,
it'll
I'm already
tell you.
doing that.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
ability
Esme
checks.
retorts and says, "Nothing you can do. We can warn the villages that there are treants nearby and to be ready to evacuate at a moment's notice."
Evacuate. This is the Deadwood frontier. People go here knowing there's a chance of death.
And
Yeah,
yet
this
we
is
should
a-
still warn them.
No. It is their duty for the Emperor to hold this ground. Any land we evacuate is surrendering land to the Deadwood. That's a defeat, even worse than a whole village being eradicated. There can be more people brought to bear to recolonize those settlements, but once the woods have expanded, it'll be thousands of blood, sweat, and tears just to claw back even a single inch of the woods. We're fighting a war of attrition here. A couple of villages isn't worth surrendering that much ground.
Not surrendering, but what's the difference between an evacuation and them all dead? It's
If
better to
they are all
reallocate
dead,
the forces.
If they're all dead, they can be replaced. If we evacuate, we give the trees the idea that we're willing to cede any ground. Pumdara is where you said was lost. There'll be 30 new colonists there within the month. I'll be sure of it. And we'll send a small garrison to secure it. If it gets killed, we'll send another one. This war is attrition. And we will win.
Okay, sorry, out of character, what is attrition?
Like, lasting longer than the other party.
Ah!
Basically,
got it.
yeah. Such is the way of war, young one.
He nods.
Such is the way.
Out on the plains, you got great pitched battles. We haven't had anything like that for 3 years. It's a slow, grinding skirmish, and everywhere, our people die, and so do theirs. The problem is, for every man that we lose, they just raise another one. That's why I'm hoping that you'll be able to change the tide, at least a little bit. Either way, it sounds like you've had a long day. The sun's already going down. You won't be able to get to Steep Base tonight, and even if you did, you'd probably be battered and tired. We'll get you some sleep, get you some quarters, and we can discuss further tasks in the morning. I can't help but notice that you're a bit under-equipped.
Yes.
And
We weren't provided with funds or material before
That's-
leaving.
And that's typical of the Department of Faith. And he looks towards the tall, gaunt man and says, "No offense, Tribunus. Well, I'm sorry I can't help you either. As you can see, we're a bit overstretched here. I struggle to feed my own men, much less a couple of foreign judges, no offense.
You got a place to rest for us?
We have a old abandoned chicken coop you can use.
It's good enough for me.
It's been cleaned of..."
I'll have to
and he
do.
looks towards his centurion. "It's been cleaned of rats, right?" And the centurion shakes his head. "Well, that'll be some fun for that dog I saw out there. We'll have a fun night."
Renesmee lets him know we saw some what are they called? Farm animals left over in the village. Not too far from here, and for some reason the treants left them untouched. Oh my goodness, Mel.
Yes, all the animals are still alive.
Yeah, typical.
Could be useful for food.
Oh yeah, certainly. When the new colonists arrive in a month, I'm sure they'll rapidly get that taken care of again. This is the way of things. You're lucky you fought the Shadow Grove rather than the Necromortis. Necromortis would have left nothing left standing.
Wait, like Necromortis treant? Does he
Yeah.
mean?
No. I mean, we're fighting two different groups here. We're fighting the Shadow Grove, creatures of the forest, dryads, treants, and whatnot, and we're fighting the Necromortis. They may work on the same side, but they're certainly not the same thing. You fight a Necromortis, they'll kill every man, woman, and child, raise them as the dead, and you'll be fighting just as many people as lived in that village. You fight against the trees, they're harder, there's less of them, and each one packs one hell of a punch, but you won't have to fight, your loved ones in the follow-up battle.
When you say a necromortis, you mean
A single
like a human
necromancer.
necromancer?
One necromancer can easily level a village.
Hmm.
We haven't seen
Oh.
more than one in a
Renesmee.
single place since the Kalentine War.
Sorry, I have to sneeze. But sorry.
It happens.
Renesmee is unamused with him kind of like mansplaining the power of the Necromortis to her.
Sure.
And she says, "I know about the Necromortis. Thank you very much. I don't need you
Oh.
to explain it to me."
She does.
Well, I see that imperial attitude drips from you. You'll get used to that disappearing pretty soon. Either way, chicken coop for you all. And if you're really desperate for rations on the brink of death, then maybe we can talk about providing you with something. But until then, you'll have to make do.
We'll be alright for tonight.
Good.
Lars will just whistle to Gore and start walking towards the chicken coop.
Centurion, show him the way. And the Primus Pilus, which is like the fancy name for the most senior centurion in a whole legion, walks to the sort of front of your guys' column and leads you outside of the keep. He'll lead you to the rear of the keep where you can see a couple of decrepit facilities. Yeah?
Before we leave, no.
Oh, yeah?
Before we leave, can I turn and ask him, just out of curiosity, how many Necromortars have you killed?
Killed? I don't think we've killed any since 1267. No, 1276.
I see. She'll look at him and say, well, if you need any tips, do let me know. And she'll smile and then she'll leave.
He shrugs. You guys exit the stone keep, head to the rear where there's a chicken coop, and the centurion sort of points towards this rotting wooden structure and says, well, it's slightly better than the barracks around here.
It is. That sounds about right for the army.
Probably only be able to fit 2 or 3 of you, though.
Ooh.
Well, it's the outside for me again tonight.
He gives a nod.
Renesmee agrees. Yeah, she'll go out.
And be careful when you sleep. We've been getting raids every couple of weeks. Sometimes they can burrow underneath the wall. Plant creatures.
Why?
So, keep an eye open as you sleep.
Uh-huh.
Centurion
No problem.
gives you all a nod and leaves you to your chicken coop and the back of the stone keep.
Lars is going to go ahead and start commanding...
Sleep in plate armor?
Is it possible to sleep in plate armor? No.
Okay.
Lars is going to start ordering Gore to start hunting down the rats in the chicken coop.
Yep, he instantly goes into the chicken coop and has a ball of a time hunting down the many rats and small creatures that have taken up residence in there. Maybe a couple minutes later, he'll exit with just blood all over his muzzle.
He'll hand him a treat and pat him, and then go inside.
Yeah. It looks like, the massacre of a whole family happened in here, just covered in, the blood of small creatures, but, it's not a huge deal. And you can find a little area with matted straw, look for it for bed bugs, pre-clean it this time, and then find yourself a nice little cozy corner of the coop.
Who else is sleeping in there? I would like a spot.
Me, Zed, and I
could
guess...
fit 2 people.
Yeah, you could squeeze in a third, it'd just be uncomfortable.
So probably just me and you again.
Okay.
The 2 of you guys squeeze into the chicken coop. It's nice and warm pretty quickly. Once you guys start breathing the air, the heated air sort of recycles, and it starts getting pretty warm, pretty toasty. Zed and Lars in the chicken coop, yep. And for the 3 of you outside, unfortunately, there's no trees to get firewood with, so you'll just have to be schlepping it to the maximum.
Are there parts of said rotting chicken coop?
If you want, you could, I guess.
It's unessential parts.
Yeah, you could. You could take off bits of the roof. As you guys, so as Zed and Lars are trying to get comfortable, they just see a bit of light to begin to shine in as you just take off a little piece of the roof. Yeah, you can take off some of the rotting wood and use that to start a very, very pitiful fire.
I'll yell and say, "You could have at least taken off a wall. Now we're gonna get rained on like you all."
You'll be all right. It's good for you. Builds character.
And you get a small little fire going, and you don't have to talk about this in character, but I am sort of curious out of character. How confident do you feel in your ability to execute your mandate of bringing peace to this region when it seems to be so horribly under-equipped?
What's our time limit?
Technically, you weren't given one, though you can understand that they probably expect results sooner rather than later.
I'm not very concerned.
Okay.
Lars is just doing this because he has to, so he doesn't
Lars
really have
seems
a
like
need
a
to...
confident man. I like it.
Yeah, confident in getting this job done so he can go back to his usual life.
Yeah.
Renez, I feel like out of character, right?
Yeah. Or from your character's perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Renesmee is a little bit more concerned with the underlying issue of why the fuck this is all happening. It feels like, to her at least, they're fighting these little wars about territory right on the border, but they're not addressing the harder issue, but the core issues. So seems like we're going to be fighting a lot of small battles, which are going to be pretty hard to squash until the big thing comes to get us.
What do you think the big thing is?
The big thing could just be a general attitude toward the forest. It could be the underlying necromancy. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But there's clearly an imbalance of some sort,
5 head. What about Fargrim? How's Fargrim feeling about this? Clearly, he doesn't believe that the Consul Militum is doing a very good job at maintaining his legion.
Yeah, Fargrim is very unsatisfied with what he's seeing, and it just emboldens his preconceived belief that he just needs to take it into his own hands
Yeah.
to do the right thing, or what he believes is right.
Okay. And then finally, Maximus. You've been given a... I mean, I think from his perspective, he is sort of the impromptu leader. Is that about right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so he's been given a very loose, like, a lot of very tight-lipped people who don't really like talking to him, though they're starting to slowly warm up. And he's come to a
We'll get
legion
there.
that can
We'll get
barely,
there.
like, feed themselves. So how is he feeling about the immensity of the task before him?
That's the army, man.
Yeah, you just got a shitty job and you just gotta, lower your head and do it?
You just gotta power on through. It's possible. So,
It
the
is
job is
possible.
possible. So, you gotta have a good spirit about it.
Okay.
Else you're not gonna. It doesn't do any good to have a bad spirit about it.
True. And does anyone chat before you drift off, before you try to get some sleep?
I'm probably gonna try to talk to Zed and say, I don't mean to pry into one's status or anything, but what are your powers exactly? I saw you do some very interesting things to that tree ant back there.
Oh, well, I was born with the gift of spellcasting, can I say? I've never seen anyone cast quite like me. I don't know, I like
Can't
to
say
think
I
I'm
have
one of a
either.
kind. I can do all sorts of things. You saw my orb. That wasn't quite what I wanted it to do, but it tends to suck stuff in. But the tree was a bit too large. I can do that.
Is there anything else like that I should be on the lookout for in battle? Don't want to get myself caught up in whatever you're doing.
Right. None of your abilities require you to speak, right?
What the fuck?
I suppose not. I could whistle for Gore to attack.
Okay. I don't think you need to worry.
I'll keep that in mind. You kind of just like warily look at it.
All right. So
Anyway, I'll give him like a ration. Say, make sure you eat up. I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
thank goodness. I'll eat half of it and be full.
okay. And then for Fargrim, Maximus, and Renesmee, are you just eating your own rations individually, or are you gonna try to look for some grub somewhere in the fort?
I would like, but I don't know the danger level here, to turn into my wild shape and just hunt out there, kind
What
of
are you
like
gonna
a
turn
dog
into?
dire wolf if I can.
A dire wolf? You will.
You will get shot.
Yeah, because they're just seeing a wolf inside their walls. You got to think about it from the
Oh.
Legionnaire's perspective.
Oh, then I'll turn into a cat and
Yeah,
I'll just hunt
not
for
a good-
my.
not a good idea.
A cat would probably be fine. Yeah. So are you doing this openly in front of Maximus and Fargrim? Because no one in the party knows you're a druid.
Besides when
Oh,
she spoke to the thing.
Sure, but I mean that just like that's.
I
I
don't
don't really know
know
what
that
that
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're
You
gonna
just-
find
okay,
out.
yeah. So you guys watch as Renesmee sort of stretches, a little bit, and then just shrinks down into a cat. It's like, but for the visual of it, it's not just like shrinks and then it's this nice thing. It is like the sound of cracking bones and just like shifting flesh as this huge human compresses into a small cat. It, like sound auditorily, it is a horrific thing to witness. But there's no pain involved.
Are they
It's like
looking
the
at
good
me
sound of
funny?
I would imagine so. I
very
don't know.
much so,
Renesmee
yes.
meows.
Fargrim's a fucking grizzled veteran. Has some cracking
some
bones
shit.
and dysmorphia. It just
Okay.
does not affect him.
Yeah, you guys both
Yeah.
just look at the cat, and you can just.
She
it's, Yeah,
meows.
it's super easy to find rats in this fort. It is not very well maintained.
Good. She
You
eats
could have
well
gotten him out of the
then.
barn
Yes,
for
she
us.
does. Okay, and then Fargrim and Maximus, how do you guys sate yourself?
I got rations.
Rations. Okay,
I'm
great.
just
Both of you guys
munching.
subtract a ration then. So, Zed, do you stay up late again to speak with Het Hagal, or do you just go to sleep?
Was there? Yeah. What was like the main area? I kind of want to just get like a layout. I kind of want to do a little recon.
Yeah, you can look around the fort. Basically, the fort is in the center of this large valley that's been like cut out of the woods. Then it's a square-shaped fort. There's a large keep, like a stone keep in the center, and then there's a bunch of smaller buildings like all around. You guys are behind the main keep right now.
Okay.
And there's like 4 entrances to the fort other than the main gate that are like smaller, some between like 5-foot doorways all the way to 15-foot wide, like full-on secondary gates.
Okay. Where was the main, like the big building, like the most
The
important
large stone
building?
keep, it's in the back quadrant of the thing. You guys are camped out right behind it. So there's an entrance to the keep, there's an entrance to the keep, like right next to your guys' campsite.
I'll see if Het Hagal wants to do a little spying for me.
What
And
do
if he sees
you
anything
say to him, or
interesting.
what do you telepathically say to Hedgehog?
Just go around the keep and let me know if you hear anything interesting about the forces or their opinions of us,
Secrets.
People thinking. Of course.
And then you feel the weight come off your shoulder and see some grass get displaced as it rolls into the keep.
Okay. And it will most likely be on the walls, since it can do that.
It can. Okay, so yeah, Renesmee will return in a couple hours, sated, sleeping in human form.
Do I have to sleep in human form?
Indeed, it requires concentration, if I recall correctly. Maybe not concentration. I
No.
think it lasts for a number of hours and then automatically ends. Is that what it is? I know it's not permanent.
Let me see.
She can hold concentration while she's wild shape.
Yeah, sure, but I think she can only wild shape for a
Sorry,
certain amount of time.
I'm just trying to find my
Sure.
Sheesh. LMAO.
Half your druid level rounded down.
Yeah, so only a couple hours. So like 2 hours is how long you can stay in cat form.
Okay.
So yeah, you do that hunt and then you go back and sleep. You wait until late, Zednius, just struggling to keep your eyes open, and then you actually...
I wanted to go talk to the legionaries.
Oh yeah, sure. You can head over to the wall if you'd like. They're on duty down the clock.
Listening for secrets, lame and unbased. Asking the soldiers themselves. That's genius.
Yeah, you can walk up to the some of the sentries on the upper level of the wall, looking out to the valley surrounding the fort. They'll just give you a nod.
Oh, I meant more of like the barracks.
Oh,
like,
okay,
guys
yeah.
who aren't on duty.
Yeah, they're on 4 different shifts, so 2 of the barracks would be about half the people are asleep, about a quarter of them are just awake, relaxing, and the other half are on duty. So yeah, you can go to the half that are relaxing.
I'll go to the relaxing.
Yeah, they're gambling, they're eating food, though not a lot of it. Some of them are chewing on shoe leather to get the feeling of being full without having actual food in their belly.
Yeah, I'll bring my ration and 1 extra ration.
Yeah, that will instantly get divvied up amongst
just to make me more amicable to everyone else.
Yeah, that'll get spread amongst 4 people almost instantly, and that will instantly ingratiate you with the troops of this particular unit.
Excellent.
What do you want to talk about?
So, but to I served in the legions. I always thought it was good to get the opinion of the enlisted. So what do you all think of your situation?
The men sort of look
of
around.
How the legion is run.
I mean, Consummilitum seems like a good enough man. It's a shit situation, though. Shit posting. I wish I was out on the plains. Oh, they're making bank. They're pillaging, taking their pick of the litter. They probably have 6 wives back home and a whole treasure chest filled with coins. It's not fair.
Such is the army.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Such are the legions.
Nearly 3/4 of the rest of us were sent off to the plains to go fight a real war. We remain here, guarding shithole villages in a shithole province against shithole foes.
Aye. What of the foes?
That sort of gives them pause. And one of them continues slowly. There's the dead, and then there's the forest. They're both pretty horrifying. That's all. That's all they say. That's all they got. Ethan died. Sadka.
Sorry, my mic came unplugged. Is one worse than the other?
They sort of think, and they all sort of agree. The undead. You gotta kill your own brothers that way.
An instant. If one goes down, the next minute he's up again.
If there's a necromancer on the field.
Good lord. When was the last time you saw one?
Oof.
If at all?
Most of the men just say they haven't. One guy looks a little bit more grizzled, more like an NCO than an actual foot soldier. Says, I saw one back during the Galentine War. I ain't seen any since, though.
Good, I suppose.
Aye, fighting just the forest is far preferable. At least you have a foe that you can fight. You don't have to worry about your comrade falling beside you and stabbing you in the neck in the next.
Aye. We fought an ant on the way here. It was,
Yeah, they all just sort of chuckle and they say, yeah, I mean, of all the foes, I kind of prefer those. I mean, they're big, right? They're scary, but, you know, you just throw a couple chains over their back, slam them to the ground, set them on fire. They scream for a while, but eventually they die.
How many men does that take?
20 to 30.
We'd poke at it for longer than I would have liked to.
I don't envy that.
They hit hard.
They do. I've seen them crush a legionnaire in a single punch.
Hard. Yeah. They doesn't feel good.
No, not quite.
Well, we've been sent here to, well, exact words were something along the lines of restore peace to the area and kill the Empire's foes.
Good luck with that, and the people around here want to kill each other about as bad as they want to kill the forest.
Oh?
I mean, there's 2 villages that are on the brink of war out near, what's that ruined city's name? Batavia, something like that. I mean, every other week, half of our duties are essentially telling these stupid country folk not to kill one another. And the other half of the time is defending against the forest.
Why do they want to kill each other?
I don't know, stupid reasons. Claims over a loot that no one can actually even go collect in the first place. Ancient blood feuds, who cares? It's all stupid. Some of the disputes, I'm sure, are older than the Empire itself. Probably even older than the Republic.
Probably. Well, you gentlemen take it easy. Don't work too hard.
They nodded. Some of them try to get some sleep.
I'll do that too.
Yeah, you head back to the campsite. Most people are already asleep, though you can see Zed is still awake. And, you go to sleep as well. The area is quiet.
Wait, Zed is still asleep?
No, sorry,
You can
still
see
awake.
that I'm
still
awake?
Sorry, still
Yeah,
awake.
still awake.
Well, I assumed you're pretty openly awake. Are you trying to hide that you're awake?
Well, I'm in the chicken coop. I don't
Yeah.
know that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's not like a totally covered up
okay.
area.
Yeah, I'm probably. What would I do?
It's not like
I
you
would
have a
probably
book or
just be
anything.
reading my book.
You have
Yeah,
a book?
I've got a book.
Oh, shit.
I do.
Nice. So, yeah, you can see Zed in the chicken coop reading a book. as you
It's a generic book of lore. I don't know if you want to add flavor to that.
No,
or
Book
not.
of Lore is fine. Just generic stories about creatures and heroes throughout Valoros.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I'm gonna sit against the chicken coop and just wait.
Okay.
I won't fall asleep, but I'll sit and listen.
Yeah. Zed, you remain there for a bit.
Do I notice him doing that?
Roll a perception check. I don't know if he's particularly stealthy. He's wearing plate armor, so.
Well, I'm pretending to sleep, so I took it off.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you can hear the sound of
That
him.
would have been very noisy.
Yeah, you can hear the sound of him sitting down next to the chicken coop.
Do I know it's him?
No, probably not. Just somebody
okay.
sitting beside the chicken coop.
I'll take a look.
Yeah, you can just poke your head out of the chicken coop and see him fake sleeping against the side of it. As discussed before, you've gotten very good at telling when people are asleep by their breathing.
Right.
In the Frumentari, so you're almost certain he's not asleep, or he has horrible breathing problems.
Maximus, is that you? What are you doing?
And I'll wake up in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, Zed. You need something?
You Oh, I thought you were back at your camp. Do you want a spot in the chicken coop? There's room for more.
Isn't the camp right next to the chicken coop?
It's a couple feet away, but yeah, it's a bit. It's
Oh.
further. Yeah, it's 10, 15
Right
feet
there.
away. Yeah.
I don't sleep so well lying down sometimes. It's something to sit up against.
Okay.
Well,
So it seems, at least
He'll
to
be
me,
okay
that
out
he's
here.
trying to. I don't know what he's trying to do, but I will tell. I guess every once in a while I'll ping, because I think it's 100 feet that I can sense it.
Yep.
Every once in a while I'll ping it to not speak out loud.
What's it?
My little man.
Say his name.
Hagal.
Yeah, there you go. You're a little guy.
Hmm.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
My little
So
inkwell.
yeah, eventually you get a response. It is just secrets. And
You're fine.
you sit there for a while, and eventually you see the head of Gore raise a little bit. He like looks around, like kind of sleepily, looks at you, and goes back to sleep. And then you feel the weight of Het Hagal on your shoulder. Gore clearly is aware that there's something, but he just can't see it, so he's like, oh, I guess it was nothing. And he goes back to sleep.
Can he smell it?
You can't tell.
I don't know if it would smell.
Yeah, you can't tell. Gore just seems to be pretty tuned into these things. But yeah, you feel the weight of rest on your shoulder, and telepathically, it speaks into your mind. There is no spellcaster. Very big secret.
There is one. What did he say?
No spellcaster.
No spellcaster. Very big secret that there's no spellcaster. Okay.
I think he
Might be
might
two
be
separate
exaggerating a tad.
Those also might be two separate things. He might be saying there's no spellcaster and something secret.
And that's all you found? Were they concerned of no spellcaster?
Yes.
What
Whispers.
were they concerned? Whispers of what?
Whispers.
Hagal, come on. Stop playing this game.
You feel the blob sort of angrily, like almost like hit your neck, not in a way that hurts, but like telling you like leave this stuff. Like it's like a annoyed like slap basically of a pseudopod against your face. And it says secrets, whispers, spellcaster.
Where?
The ball just like poofs off your shoulder.
Son of a bitch. Oh, did he like teleport himself away?
No, he just rolled
Okay.
off your shoulder.
Okay.
And do you get some sleep?
Yep.
You close your eyes. Prepare to get some sleep. But your dreams are not empty. You don't exactly wake up. It's more so that the darkness around you as you dream takes shape. You begin to see pinpricks of light, which as the time continues, you begin to realize are stars. Many, many stars. Not quite as many as are in the night sky. Certainly none of the especially colorful ones that you can see on in a true night sky, but just many, many pinpricks of light. But around you, there's nothing. You're not standing on anything, though you can see your feet and your body when you look down. And a small part of your brain realizes this inky blackness is not dissimilar to what Het Hagal looks like when you look at him. And a voice, like Het Hagal's, though, more omnipresent, as if it's coming from every direction at once, fills your mind. Chains. Freedom. Then you feel the presence withdraw. But the dream does not end. You are at least semi-lucid.
Can I like move around?
Yeah, you can only with your thought. But as you think, you float around in this semi-empty space.
Who was that? Where are you?
Freedom. Chains.
Show yourself. I can't free you if I don't know where you are.
You feel a presence press down on your chest, and you sort of gasp for air. And when you look down, your body is encased by chains, and it says, "Freedom."
What are you doing to me?
And as the chains begin to get tighter and you feel them sear into your flesh, pushing deeper, immense pain as they push harder and harder, you awake in the early morning. It was a fitful night of rest, and you're being shook awake. Maybe not by Lars, because I don't know if he cares enough, but certainly by Gore, who doesn't like you rolling around the chicken coop. And I think, Lars, by now you're probably already awake, because Zed was, like, rolling in his sleep, like, slapping you in the face with his arm, like, flailing around and shit.
What are you doing over there? Trying to sleep.
Having bad dreams. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I am worried about it because it woke me up.
Based. Okay.
Just to clarify, I lose my 1 point of exhaustion and I get moxie points back because it's a short rest, right?
Yeah. And I was going to talk about healing now that we've taken our
Yeah,
rest.
I don't know how it works. Sorry.
Yeah. So long rests are going to be a week of dedicated time vibing. But that is not going to be the majority of your time because long rests are going to be pretty rare. What's going to be a lot more common are short rests. During short rest, you can expend your hit dice, which you'll see them beneath your temporary hit point. You can expend those to gain back HP. And you can roll them to see how much HP you get back. Or you can use spells like Lay on Hands, which Fargrim has, or Cure Wounds, which you have, to get back to full HP.
Oh.
And those are once per week as well.
Those are once per week.
You have like 30. How many
5.
does he have? 35.
25. It's just your level
25.
5.
So you have a pool of 25 you can distribute to anybody.
Every week?
Every week.
Yeah. That's for Fargrim. So in terms of HP though, Mickey, which is Maximus's horse, is pretty hurt. You're pretty hurt, and Zedny is pretty hurt. Those are our 3 people who have the most sort of damage on them.
Wait,
I
but
use 4 fucking hit dice to heal 14 damage
Okay.
on Gore.
Jesus.
big question here.
I'm ready for the big question here.
Not really a huge question, but I don't understand how the spell thing works still. So I used a spell slot.
Yep, that spell slot
Does-
does not come back until you take a long rest.
That's why I gotta be
I thought-
careful.
Oh God, that is so much freaking time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Be a warlock.
Oh, come on!
I
What
mean,
the heck?
you get to cast 9 spells per long rest. That's not too bad.
But it's a week of dedicated vibing.
Yeah.
When are we gonna have a week of dedicated
You're going
vibing?
to have to find some. That's just how it works. You're going to need to do that.
Oh,
Yeah. You're just
What
gonna
do you mean
to
you need
find
a week? I'm
safe
ready to
place.
go.
Yeah, true. Warlocks get theirs in a short rest.
well, should I add a character? Is this like a good time to cast a Cure Wounds, or?
I mean,
You can use your hit dice.
She's at full health. She's more so. I think she's more so
Yeah.
talking about you guys.
Oh, to heal somebody else.
I'm talking about y'all, yeah.
Me and Gore healed back up from our hit dice.
Yeah, it's just Zednius, Fargrim, and Mickey. So, Bing, if you would like to use some of your healing resources, you could bring basically everyone back up to full. But that would be your Lay on Hands gone. My recommendation, personally,
Or
would
the
be
week.
you want to use your Lay on Hands very sparingly because during combat you can use it to bring people back from the brink of death, and that's a much more
Yeah.
efficient tactical usage of it than bringing people
was
from
thinking
half
of
to full.
Yeah, I was thinking I'll just use my 5 hit dice.
Yep. Yeah, you can only use those to heal yourself, not other people. But
You only regain half of those on a long rest.
that is true. That is true. So you only, for your guys' level, you would gain back 3 hit dice on a long rest, not all 5.
Oh, okay.
So
a nice
to roll
roll.
the hit dice, you just click the hit dice button.
Based.
And that's
Get wrecked,
how
Dota.
much health you get back.
Yep.
It wasn't
Whenever
on
you
me that
click
got
it,
wrecked, it was Gore.
You just click it and the number. Yep. So you get 10 HP back, so that puts you at 38. And honestly, I would recommend not healing anymore because if you overheal, you're wasting that hit point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it. You're smart. The only person that's still injured to a substantial degree is Mickey, which can't use hit dice because it's an NPC stat block.
Mickey.
Mickey, yeah.
Which is the horse.
Mickey
Maximus,
the horse.
right?
Yeah, Maximus is Steve.
Oh.
Because it got, what did it get hit by? Oh yeah, it got slammed in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. That was funny.
Good.
I mean, sorry, that was tragic. That was so sad. So does anyone want to heal the horse?
I can't.
Ethan,
Should
do you
I?
want to advocate for your horse?
I mean, I can heal the horse,
He's dead.
but
Ethan's
I need
dead.
someone to
Oh my
ask me.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Etan. Is he muted? Did he say he was doing something?
Nope.
No,
Maybe
he's
he
just dead.
unplugged his mic again.
My horse,
Oh, he did
My-
unplug his mic 100%. You want it to be healed?
I left him behind.
he hurts Renesmee. He's in pain.
Okay.
Leave him.
Such a goblin.
I would
It's,
never
down
Okay,
by,
but-
it's down by
Or-
12 HP if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
Is that
something
really
like that.
bad? What HP is
It's
it normally at?
below half.
It is,
He
it
has
is
a max-
26.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth it for me to do my
Well-
healing thing?
My whole character build is kind of based on being mounted. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I go
Because
over to the
normally-
horse. Huh?
What?
Because normally,
Oh,
I can make like attacks not hit him. I can just make the attacks hit me instead. But strength saves and such are
Yeah,
not
well-
like that.
I go over to the horsey and I,
The only
touch its little nuzzle,
Yeah.
and then I heal it
You're
5
5
points.
HP. Great.
The only way for that to heal is through spells, right?
The only way for that
It
to go is
won't-
through spells.
it
During
won't
long
regain
rest,
it?
it'll go back to full HP.
Okay.
All right, so you guys get some sleep. You wake up in the early AM, but the thing that wakes you is not, unfortunately, Zednius rolling around. That's at sort of the middle of the night, early morning. It's the sound of bells ringing throughout the fort, and you hear shouts of legionnaires coming alongside it. Enemies on their way! Troops from the forest! And there, I think we're going to continue that next time, because we only have about 20 minutes left, and I don't think that's time for this full combat.
I need to hash out my wolf stats with you because they are not correct.
They are, but we'll discuss that
But no.
afterwards. So,
Unless you change the wolf stats.
yes, kind of. So, that is all for this week. Next time we will deal with a fight in a fort against a incoming swarm of something. And we will deal with the small village of Stipes and the raids against that small little village. So, indeed, that'll be, we'll talk about XP. So, XP-wise, we're just splitting the stats of that treant 5 ways, which is going to be like nothing. I'm just going to warn you in advance. It's going to be very each one of you guys gets 360 XP. So, for newer players, the way you add this to your sheet is you go to your character sheet, and in the core sheet, you'll see a section called experience points. Each of you should have 6,500 in that spot. You are now going to add, what did I say, 360?
300.
Yep. So you're going to do 6,500 plus 360, 6,860 XP. And then once it goes over the arbitrary number that is required to level up again, it'll inform you. It's a long ways, though. You guys are going to be here for quite a while.
I pinned them in the chat already as well.
A completely arbitrary number.
It is an arbitrary number, yes.
If you want to know those numbers, I pinned them in the chat. I'll type it.
Oh, yeah, it's in the Discord chat. All right. I think that's all we got. I will see you folks next week for Pax Mithdosica.
Do you have like handouts and stuff of things? Just because I was